just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. Kind of a crazy, frenetic afternoon around the Monty Show compound. As always, we are presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. You guys, don't trust your insurance companies, please. I'm begging you. I say this all the time. If you get into a wreck, if you get hurt at work, if you have a slip and fall, you get hit on your bicycle or motorcycle, please do not trust your insurance companies. They're not working for you. They're not fighting for you. That's why you go to the Advocates. Give the Advocates your claims process. Get clear, risk-free advice. You don't ever have to pay out of pocket to work with the Advocates. In fact, you can chat with an injury attorney right now at theadvocates.com, 24/7, 365. The Advocates are ready to fight for you. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. And I am stunned today at excuse me, we've been sitting here working on a story for pretty much half the day today.
Right.
We did the show yesterday on UNLV having conversations with the Big 12 before they signed the grant of rights in the Mountain West.
Mm-hmm.
Our reporting yesterday pretty much confirmed by the multitude of phone calls we got this morning from multiple sources around the Big 12, the Pac-12, the Mountain West. Like, we heard from a lot of corners of the college football world about UNLV. And one of the things that happened was we started hearing a consistent storyline from people not connected to each other who don't know each other, which is always, that's big time red flags. When you're talking to multiple executives and administrators who are telling you, hey, like this one person I was talking to earlier this morning said, you know, I'm calling you because I want to talk to you about this, because I've known this person for several years now. We've shared information, and this person was telling me, hey, I'm hearing that during mediation, a merger was brought back to the table. That conversation was brought back to the table, back into the ethos, if you will, of the future. What are possibilities? What are remedies?
Right.
Because remember what mediation is. Mediation is where you have an independent third party standing between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. They're exchanging ideas. The mediator is not somebody that is a current sitting judge who's making, legal decisions like it's arbitration. No, this is an exchange of ideas. And we heard from multiple sources that the Mountain West, again, brought to the table the idea of a merger. And so we started working on confirming that story. And I'm telling you this because what we're going to talk about here in a minute is absolutely stunning. It is not what we intended on talking about today, but in the last hour, multiple phone calls happened. And maybe I said to Jake, why are we on the phone 40 minutes, 30 minutes before the show? And he said, because people are getting out of meetings and coming out of lunch, which is true. But we're talking to people about what is going on in the Mountain West and in the Pac-12. And one of the questions we've run through the show for 6 weeks, why haven't any of the exiting members of the Mountain West sent letters, sent deposits, signed grant of rights? Why don't we have action? Why don't we have a new media rights deal in the Pac-12? And I was talking to administrators across college football today, familiar with the situation, said, well, have you guys talked to Scott Barnes, the athletic director at Oregon State? And I said, well, I've tried, right? Because I've covered Scott Barnes since his Utah State days.
Yeah.
Scott Barnes isn't saying much. And apparently Scott Barnes isn't saying much to a lot of people. But in recent times, he's had conversations with the Big 12. And I was like, are you sure? Like, what do you mean? But Scott Barnes, now multiple sources have confirmed that Scott Barnes in recent times has reached out to the Big 12 and the ACC to talk about membership in that conference. I was like, well, okay. I mean, I understand that he's not contractually tied to anybody for 2026. Scott Barnes is a phenomenal operator, a phenomenal administrator.
Right.
But wait a minute, you're forming a new conference where you're having members that were foundational members of the Mountain West leave the Mountain West to join the Pac-12, but you're out allegedly talking to the Big 12. And I say allegedly because I haven't asked Scott Barnes this. I want to be very upfront with you. We've heard it from multiple independent sources that Scott Barnes at Oregon State reached out to the Big 12 and the ACC. Okay, I kind of understand that. But what about this merger thing? Here's the other conversation.
Right.
What about this merger thing? Who in the Pac-12 is standing between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West having substantial conversations about merging? Because remember, before all of this scheduling agreement nonsense, there was allegedly a framework in place that could have led to a merger. And then all of a sudden that died. And the Pac-12 has been a hard no since the scheduling agreement and the poaching penalties, and we're leaving and they're staying. And it's been a hard no since. Multiple independent sources today, sources who don't know each other and don't know we're talking, said to us today that the exiting members of the Mountain West are absolutely open to conversations about a merger.
Mm-hmm.
So if the exiting members of the Mountain West are open to the idea of a merger, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but if they're open to the idea of a merger, who's really standing in the way? Who's standing in the way in the Pac-12 of doing what pretty much every TV executive I speak to, every administrator I speak to, everybody with common sense realizes is the right tack to take, which is merging the two together under a single entity to be the dominant athletic conference on the West Coast.
And the best G5.
Hands down. Who's standing in the way of that? Well, it would appear that it is Washington State, Oregon State, and Teresa Gould. The old guard Pac-12. It would appear. Because we have multiple sources telling us in the Mountain West, outside of the Mountain West, that the exiting members of the Mountain West are open to the idea of a merger. They see, and here's why, because this is really important. The exiting members of the Mountain West, as our sources, multiple sources have told us, are wondering how much money a media rights deal in a new reimagined Pac-12 that doesn't include a merger, how much money are they going to make there?
Or not make.
And how much money are they leaving on the table by not merging? And I think that is the real instability in the Pac-12 ecosystem right now. I think there is real instability in that conference. I think what conference? The supposed conference, right? Because they don't have a conference at this moment. And we don't know. I have not been told that there is, paper just sitting in a manila folder waiting to be made public with signatures. I've been told that. I have been told the new members have not signed a grant of rights in the Pac-12. I have not heard once that any of the exiting members have filed a letter and a fee, the deposit on that fee, the $5,000 to leave the conference. I have not heard one time that even one of them have. Maybe they have, and maybe I'm just not talking to the right people. Very possible. I'm just little old Monty over here.
Right.
Maybe I'm not talking to the right people. But I can tell you, between the two of us, we talk to a lot of people, and we haven't heard that once.
Right.
And usually that's the kind of thing that you would hear when you talk to enough people. When there's a bunch of chefs in the stew and you're talking to all of them independently, usually you hear things.
Well, and I think the other really interesting thing, and this is not the first time with this situation we've brought this up or talked about it, is the prospect, for these 5 schools leaving the Mountain West. Like, okay, well, what happens if the Pac-12 thing doesn't work out? Like, if they get cold feet and they don't want to leave, what are their options? And so this conversation of, hey, could those schools come back to the conference? Could then the Mountain West kind of, become this juggernaut on the West Coast? Because obviously you've added some schools already. You would be getting back, or I guess, keeping your best brands. I think that's a really powerful scenario for these schools in the Mountain West to ponder, right? I mean, nobody's saying that. Nobody's using words like that's likely or something like that. But I think when you're looking at, hey, what is best case scenario if you're, Boise State, or if you're any of these schools that are looking at this? Well, it's kind of hard to run from the fact that best case scenario would be getting back on solid footing from a TV deal perspective, getting back on solid footing from a conference affiliation perspective. And I have to say, as I get older, this is also something I appreciate: the peace of mind and being able to sleep at night, knowing that you don't have to worry about, when this is and that's happening, how the mediation is going to go.
Yeah.
When you're like, I think people grossly discount how much mental, capacity this thing is taking up in people's lives to try to figure this out. And at some point, the cute kids saying is the math stops mathing. And
yes.
I feel like we're getting to a point in this conversation where people involved seemingly are starting to have those thoughts. Because we hadn't heard before today, there was no, Scott Barnes and all this. None of this was coming up. Like this whole concept of, hey, like they're actually vetting all of their options. It's not just Pac-12 or merge. It's actually everything's on the table, potentially, allegedly. Like that's a whole different dynamic.
Well, and what that says is they're not all in on the Pac-12.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And again, I want to make this really clear. I have not spoken to Oregon State about this. I have not asked Scott Barnes about this directly. My intention is in the next little few minutes here, I will send him an email and ask him for comment on it. And likely I will not hear back. But I have no reason to question the people who are telling me this. And I can tell you, my belief is that this mediation has to go well for the new Pac-12 to happen. For the new Pac-12 to be formed as we know it today, right? And we can keep pushing the banner up there, and we can keep talking about this. My opinion now is that you have people looking at plan Bs.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if that is not the road to prosperity? And my biggest question is, who is blocking a merger in the Pac-12?
Yeah.
Who in the Pac-12 is standing between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, having conversations about becoming the dominant athletic conference on the West Coast?
Who is once again standing in the way of a dominant West Coast conference having a chance to survive?
Because that's what this is. You put these two leagues together in some form or fashion, because I do not believe that it would just be lock, stock, and barrel, everybody slams into one conference. You'd have to wonder, like, what happens to San Jose State? What happens? Is San Jose State a forever member? Does it what about Gonzaga? Because we know that Gonzaga didn't want to be a P4. They had an open invite to join the Big 12, and they chose the new Pac-12. Like, everybody's looking at a plan B. And my belief is that if the two merged, Gonzaga would be all in. Because at that point, I don't even care what you think of the Pac-12 brand. I think my guess is it would be Pac-12 something.
Yeah, I mean, who cares what the marketing materials are? I mean, I think you look at the makeup of the schools.
Doesn't almost matter.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the capabilities of Gonzaga in the tournament. You look at Boise State. You look at, I mean, you guys all know the top line narratives and the power players in that conference. And I think, you know, the thing that is striking to me now, having, you know, now having talked about the Pac-12 in one form or fashion for, you know, going on 3 years now, you know, I mean, it's been kind of a saga at this point. But one of the things that really stands out to me also is this concept of, okay, well, hey, if in recent times, I don't know when, but recently, clearly, allegedly, Scott Barnes had been talking to the ACC and the Big 12. That also really stands out to me, because if that was in recent times, let's be generous and say in the new year in Q1, like, Scott Barnes is a really smart guy. Like, this is someone who's a veteran. We are big
fans of Scott Barnes on this show.
Like, this is someone who's a veteran at what he does. He is really savvy. Like, this guy is smart. Like, you guys need to understand that. And, you know, the last time on technicality you heard from Scott Barnes was when he commented on the media deal they got for this coming season, talking about how, like, ESPN is a great partner and all the options and all the places. Okay, cool. But we haven't really heard Scott Barnes go in on this conversation in quite some time. And to me, the last time I can think of hearing from him is all the way back to when it became clear that Oregon State was not going to be part of the Big 12, you know, schools that they were scooping up out of the Pac-12 chaos. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, hey, what's today's date, guys? Oh, that's right. Today's the 20th. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
Bro, that means you have 10 days, dude.
Essentially, yeah.
You essentially have 10 days to figure this thing out. And by the way, and Scott knows this, and you guys probably know this, but I just want to bring it up because I think it's a valid point. Bro, you don't have the advantage or the luxury or the convenience of quote unquote going back to the Mountain West, right? You don't, if you're Oregon State, you don't have that luxury. You want to talk about plan Bs? What's the plan B for Oregon State? And obviously by extension, Washington State. But you're just going to go independent? Because now all of a sudden, and here, let me be the a-hole, the Calford deal is looking really nice for these two. Now that they go back and look at it.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
Maybe Oregon State and Washington State have some regret. Maybe they don't. But all I'm telling you is, typically in college athletics, you're always trying to be, you know, quote unquote secure, you know what conference you're going to be part of, know what your TV deal looks like, know what your schedule is going to be specifically in football, but obviously throughout your athletic department. In my opinion, the best athletic departments have that unlocked for 3 years ahead of time. That to me is ideal. You look at any great athletic department and they've got that thing unlocked for about 3 years. Maybe some games, they got a schedule or whatever, but they know their conference. They know their distribution deal and what that's going to look like. So the concept of, hey, we have essentially 10 days here to try to get mediation correct. And, you know, we got to deal with the leadership at Washington State. We got to deal with Teresa Gould. And again, my opinion, not reporting anything, my opinion, her stubbornness in this situation, because I feel she's been stubborn based on what hasn't gotten done, mainly a merger, mainly pragmatic decision-making, mainly, you know, trying to find the best solution for everyone involved. Like, I'm just sitting here saying, dude, you're running out of time. And I like Scott Barnes. Scott Barnes is a great administrator.
I respect Scott Barnes.
Yeah, like love the guy. It's awesome. But ultimately, Oregon State, and this is something you guys need to consider in terms of decision-making for Scott Barnes and what he's looking at. Bro, you just went from being, in my opinion, one of the underdog darlings of the old Pac-12, a team that just upgraded Reeser, has great facilities, has, and I don't think a ton of people know about it because they're not playing big time football right now, like in terms of size and marketability of games, but a great home field advantage to that stadium. So you just put out money a couple years ago to renovate your football stadium before you knew you wouldn't be in a power league anymore. And now you're sitting here having no idea where home is going to be. You don't know if you're flying to freaking Virginia or if you're just up and down the West Coast. You have no idea. You could not say, like, Scott cannot say with certainty today where they're going to be. And that to me is the crime in all of this. We're sitting here today getting calls and we're left feeling like, yeah, dude, like honestly, it's the 5 schools who are looking at leaving the Mountain West to go to the Pac-12 or Pac-2 or whatever they're calling themselves.
Yeah.
And now, because, and again, it just feels this way based on the conversations, based on what everyone is saying that we heard today, it just feels like the old Pac-12 is at work. It feels like Teresa Gould and that front office, if you will, is just like dying on the hill of not merging. And Oregon State and schools like Oregon State that are involved are left in the wake. And frankly, there's nothing they can do about it. I mean, honestly, what are the options? Like, the 5 who are looking at leaving the Mountain West can go back. That's on the table. You can go back.
You believe that?
I believe that, yeah. Because the thing is, it would benefit the Mountain West.
I think
like the Mountain West doesn't want to lose Boise State. That doesn't make sense.
I think that is correct. I think that in talking to current members and some of the exiting members, I do believe that they could go back. I do believe there's an avenue for them to go back. We asked that question specifically today, and it wasn't an absolutely, but I can tell you sources at multiple spots involved in this process have made it clear that there is a bridge back.
And most importantly, it wasn't an absolutely not.
That's exactly right.
I think that's the best way to kind of characterize it.
Yeah, and I think it is. I think it's really important to understand that there's a lot at risk here for everybody involved, and we need to respect the fact that careers, lives, and legacies are on the line here. So when we talk about this stuff, we're not just sitting here talking about it willy-nilly. We have worked hard to, get multiple sources to confirm everything that we're talking about today. And if you're just tuning into the show, one of the really interesting conversations we've had over the last 24 hours at this point is that there are real questions about now, internally and externally, why the Pac-12 and the Mountain West are not having merger talks. Because our sources have told us that multiple times the Mountain West has approached the Pac-12 about merging, and it's been a hard no. And we were asked specifically by multiple people today, who is standing in the way of those conversations? And we are hearing that the exiting members of the Mountain West are open to a merger. There's not a situation where, and I asked this question specifically, is it a thing where you don't want to be in business and the answer was no, not at all. The problem now is we don't know what we're getting into in the Pac-12 because it was assumed by now that there would be a new media rights deal for 2026 and beyond.
Right.
And that has not come to fruition. It was assumed by now that all this legality would have been taken care of, and it is not. And there are a lot of questions. I can tell you one source today asked me point blank, what took so long to get to mediation? And it's something we had this exact discussion on the show.
Bro, we talked about it. It's so funny how this works. So we talked about that. We raised that question. Specifically, remember, and go back and listen. I want to say we had this conversation about what is holding up mediation. The time is ticking, like in October, November, because I remember that. If you guys remember, what was the narrative at that time? Well, the narrative was, hey, they're going to have a media rights deal by the end of the year, right? Like, hey, but you know, before the holidays really get going, you know, you could probably expect it to be late November. You know, once December gets here, a lot of people are on vacation and these people like to check out. So the concept that there's no media rights deal done for 26 and beyond, and you have 10 days or so left on the clock here to figure this out. This is, in my opinion, if you take the Pac-12, you know, opinions and feelings out of it, and you just said, hey, there's a conference out there that's fighting for its life and it's got 10 days to figure it out, I would say that most of you would bet your life savings that that conference isn't going to make it. And that's what scares me is I don't want the Pac-12 to not make it. Like it's heartbreaking to me. And we said this when it happened. Dude, I don't want to have to do shows about you know, schools and administrators having to back channel with other schools to try to get to their next conference when they weren't expecting to have to leave or get out of their current conference. And like, dude, it's absolute chaos, man. Like it's chaos on top of the chaos happening with the House settlement, with NIL and recruiting and the portal, and there is no end. It's as if there's like a black hole of if it's not one thing, it's the other. So I have no dog really in this fight. I miss the old Pac-12. I could specifically reminisce about watching late night Oregon football game on ESPN, and it's just an absolute thriller, and you could care less about what time it is or what time you were getting up in the morning because you were watching that game.
Yeah, I am unchanged. I'm sick for Oregon State and Washington State fans. You were left really Oregon State, because I feel like Scott Barnes damn near literally and figuratively went to his deathbed over this. And I think that I hope he replies. I emailed Scott Barnes. I copied the staff. I really hope they respond with a comment. I really hope that we're in a place where, even if it's a hard no, I think this is really important now that this is out here.
And the other thing is, too, we haven't heard word one from anybody in the Pac-12.
And listen, if we have it, we're not the biggest show in the world.
What?
If we have it, who else has it? Because these rumors are out there. These conversations are out there. And let me put a bow around it for you again, because I know we've had a ranging conversation here. Our sources are telling us that at mediation, the Mountain West and the Pac-12, which happened yesterday, and we have not heard any word that it's completed. We are hearing that in those conversations, excuse me, with the godforsaken cough again, but in those conversations that merging was brought up again. And we talked about the fact that UNLV, before they signed their grant of rights with the Mountain West Conference, reached out to the Big 12. We were told today in a phone call this morning that, in fact, why don't you ask Scott Barnes about his conversations with the Big 12? And I specifically said, well, are you talking about when the Pac-12 was melting down? No, I'm not. In recent times. So I want you to understand, as we were sitting here, I just emailed Scott Barnes and asked him for a comment on if he has had conversations in the last 12 months with the Big 12. Has he had conversations in the last 12 months with the ACC? And has Oregon State signed a grant of rights with the Pac-12 beyond 2025? And I don't know how much clearer I can ask those questions. I have emailed Scott in the past. I have not gotten a response. Is that because we're just the little old Monty Show? Sure, it could be. It could be. But I think one of the interesting things is every time we talk about something involving the Mountain West and the Pac-12, the phone rings. And it is without fail that somebody will say, hey, man, great job. You nailed that. But did you hear about this? Are you aware that this is going on? That's exactly where this came from. And some of the other interesting details, I get the feeling, and it is my opinion based on sourcing and conversations I've had, that the exiting 5 members of the Mountain West have some real trepidation right now. There is some real insecurity about where they're going to and what that deal is going to look like. Because at this point in time, you cannot have a real grasp on what your revenue situation is and how financially stable you are beyond this 2025 year, because you don't have a media rights deal. You don't have a grant of rights signed. You don't know what your revenue and your expenses are going to be, because you don't know what your travel is going to look like. It is, in my opinion, a very dangerous time if you are a fan or a supporter or a principal in the Pac-12, because I think there are real questions to be answered in this mediation. I think if the Pac-12 does not find a way to mitigate a large percentage of these poaching fees, I think it's going to be very difficult to deliver on the financial promises that the Pac-12 made to these exiting members of the Mountain West. And I think it's very interesting that we have looked at UNLV, and a lot of people want to downplay UNLV's stature. Oh, they don't win football games. Doesn't matter if they win football games. Oh, they're broke. What is it? Okay. Does UNLV have significant financial considerations right now? Yeah, but who in this conference or the Pac-12 doesn't? Who in this situation isn't having to quite literally count every nickel, dime, and penny that they have for athletics? Everybody is. And if you're not, you're making a mistake. What I believe is UNLV did their homework. They did the legwork. They pulled out the abacus and started counting numbers on what a new Pac-12 would look like, and they chose not to fight the fight. They chose not to pay the lawyers. They chose not to sue the Mountain West. They chose not to get involved where I think a lot of others got involved, obviously. They chose to stay in the Mountain West. The Big 12, in my opinion, based on conversations I've had with sources directly with knowledge of that situation, was not an option. And UNLV chose to stay in the Mountain West, and it looks like, as of today, right now, they're kind of sitting on calm water. UNLV doesn't have questions about their future. UNLV does not have questions about their TV deal. UNLV does not have questions about their money. So we're in this situation now where if you're one of these exiting members of the Mountain West, you have a lot of questions. If you're going into the Mountain West, sure, you have questions. You have a TV deal for this year and next year. You got questions about the future, but you know what your travel is pretty much going to look like. You know what your money's pretty much going to look like. There aren't questions about like, well, are we going to have a media rights deal for 2026? The answer is yes in the Mountain West. The answer is I don't know in the Pac-12. That's quite literally the conversation that we are told is happening. And to back up what Jake said, I do believe that the Mountain West would take back the exiting members. And I do believe Gonzaga, Gonzaga would be part of that equation.
Yeah. And I just think, for Gonzaga, it's, this is much more of a black and white scenario. I mean, Gonzaga is just looking for, the best, situation they can get. They don't have to, they're going to be fine. They're going to be just fine. But I think that, again, I'm just saying that this, not to use these fancy words, but I feel like the proper word is like quotient, this weight, this factor of like, how long are we going to allow our university and its athletics to be up in the air, right? Or
how long
flux?
Can we afford?
Yeah, well, and can we afford to pay lawyers and the whole legal portion? Like it's a lot, and I just feel like, I don't know. Again, this harkens back to the original day one conversation you and I had about this. What was the Pac-12 promising? What was the pitch? What did the fancy slide deck look like?
How leveraged are you?
Yeah, like what was the promise? If the promise was, hey, we're not going to pay any poaching fees or any exit fees or all that, we're going to negotiate out of those. I just don't know what the future looks like, if there is a future. I'm very. It concerns me based on the fact that we haven't really heard word one from anybody after the Wicker comments, and we're approaching June. Like, that tells me that you don't have some massive firepower here, that you don't have a lot of positive things to talk about. Because if you did, and again, no matter what you think of the Pac-12, I think we can all agree, if they got something to say or something to trumpet, they're going to trumpet it, right? Look no further than the coming in 2026 graphic. So it just tells me that we're coming down to the wire here. And the question of, hey, well, what happens if mediation doesn't go well, or if they can't figure it out? That's when I think you're going to find out for the Pac-12, and that's tough.
I think you have real questions. For the first time, you have real questions about the viability of these leagues. But this is what happens when you don't act with a high level of business intelligence.
Yeah.
And a high level of integrity and ethics. You create these messes that leave people hanging. Because when you start looking at the reality, and let's play the game that I always talk about in life. Best case scenario. I think the best case scenario is you merged the two leagues together. I think there are going to be some strays that get caught, maybe by some of the folks that are currently in the conference, because I would remind you, the Mountain West has a grant of rights.
Mm-hmm.
That grant of rights is signed. So those new members are in, right? And I point to people like San Jose State because it sucks. But isn't San Jose State right where Oregon State was?
Yes. Yes, they are along for the ride.
The simple reality is I think they're a passenger on this train right now.
Yeah.
They're not the conductor, and they're not the engineer. And I think best case scenario is these leagues merge, and there is as little bloodshed as a result of that as possible. Worst case scenario, I think the worst case scenario is these two leagues go forward, and the exiting members go to the Pac-12. The new Mountain West is launched, and my belief is they will each wind up playing in a pond of $5, $6, $7 million if they're lucky. There are not two $8, $9, $10 million deals out there. If you put this league together, my guess is you would be real close to $10 million per school per year in a media rights deal.
Yeah, and I also think, not to state the obvious, but there would definitely be incentive-based revenue sharing or performance-based revenue sharing.
And I think the biggest issue that I have here is you're not getting anywhere near that, either one of these leagues. And you're looking at, again, a place where the Pac-12, they get a media rights deal for 2025, but where's the big press release? Where's the hoopla? We're on CBS. We're on ESPN.
Yeah.
There's not any.
How is there no interview to promote that?
They don't want to talk about the money, and they don't want to talk about the cost to do that deal.
Yeah.
Because it's not again, I'm going to remind you, and I'm not telling you how to live your life or what you know, or it's not how much money that you're grossing. What are you netting? What is the Pac-12 netting on their 2025 broadcast deal with the CW, ESPN, CBS? What is the net on that deal? I don't know either.
Yeah.
But it ain't $7 million. It's not. And I'm not going to speculate because a lot of people have. I don't know what that number looks like. But, you hear Pac-12 fans. When I said, hey, from what I understand, the burden of cost on producing those broadcasts is with the Pac-12. ESPN, CBS, they're going to provide the talent. And again, I talked to somebody in TV last week who said that includes, in most cases, a producer. Because ESPN and CBS want their broadcast to look and sound the way that ESPN and CBS broadcasts look and sound. So my guess is the personnel in the truck is probably on the Pac-12 books. The color guy, the play-by-play guy, the statistician, the producer, and the director in the truck.
Sideline interviewer.
All the talent, all the on-camera talent the producer and the director and the truck belong to the broadcast network. So CBS and ESPN. Other than that, the equipment, the facility, all of it, the satellite time, all of it belong to the Pac-12. And they're lock, stock, and barrel covering the production costs for the CW. That's not cheap. And so when you look at the way that the future media rights deal goes on, you can't continue to do business like that.
No.
You can't do that.
It's not good enough.
So I'm really interested to see how all of this shakes out. But this is stunning to me. What is the information that's come to us over the last 24 hours about the instability, and I don't even know that instability is the right word, the insecurity that is looming over the Pac-12 right now is problematic.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think there's any way for schools to feel good about the prospect of it. There's no way, like, again, and this is why I keep saying, like, if you're one of these exiting members from the Mountain West looking at this, like, what green flags do you have? What about this says, yeah, I should do this? That's what I'm trying to understand. It's not to say that the Pac-12 sucks or they're terrible. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, from a business perspective, and that's what these people do. They don't give a damn what you think the best player on the team is or anything like that. They're looking at, hey, how are we going to pay the bills plus make some money? That's the basic, generic version.
And again, I'm going to point to the fact that the average revenue at this level is not high. We're not talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue here. This isn't, man, this isn't Ohio State.
Right.
This isn't Alabama. This isn't even the ACC or the Big 12. You're talking about football programs, because I think the Mountain West is a pretty damn good basketball conference. I think we've talked about that.
Yeah.
You have small crowds. I point to San Diego State again, not to pick on JD Wicker, but you're not making tons of money on attendance and concessions and gear.
No, you're not, because you're not competitive. You don't have a reason for people to come out. That's the problem. And
when I look at the fact that in the Mountain West, you're talking about, what are we talking about? $5 million a year. The Mountain West, and this is from Nevada Sports Net on the 24th of or last summer. The Mountain West reported $78 million in revenue fiscal year 2023. Like, you look at some of those numbers and you start looking at 2024 and 2025, and you're not playing in huge amounts of money, man.
But I think the thing is, like, just that number, take that number and then say, okay, with the schools the Mountain West has added, and then potentially bringing back the schools that were going to depart, if it were to go that way, that number is going up. like you're not going to stay at 5.
Yeah, I neither one of these conferences will thrive.
Yeah.
And if it's $6 million per school, if it is, it's in a new deal where the Pac-12 and the Mountain West are fighting over windows and broadcast times and scheduling times, and it's not a pretty picture. This is not how you thrive and make money. It just is not. And I want people to understand that when you look at the way that, like, you look at Colorado State or, Oregon State, Research Stadium's what, 35,000? You look at the way that these numbers look. Boise State's 36,000. Fresno State, but you're never selling out Fresno State at 40,000, right? UNLV 65,000. How many times are they putting 65,000 fans in the seats for a UNLV football game at Allegiant?
Yeah,
you're not. UTEP, is UTEP putting 52,000 fans in their stadium? That would be amazing, but neither one of these conferences are just printing money or have a money tree growing in the athletic lobby. This is a really critical moment for the survival of both of these conferences. I think this mediation, if it does not, and again, I'm just going to say, if it does not lead to a merger, I have real concern that either one of these conferences will be able to thrive. They'll survive. I mean, people like Gloria Navarez, she's a phenomenal business person.
Yeah, they'll find a way.
They've got really good people on staff at the Mountain West. The Pac-12 has not struggled to make money. They've struggled to count money.
Yeah, and keep money.
But they haven't struggled to make money. They will make money, but they would be so much better off as one conference.
Yeah.
And there's about that much time left to make that happen. And I'm just going to keep leaning on the reporting that we've had on this show. I think Gloria Navarez would absolutely like to see a merger. I think if it meant that she had to step aside and not be the commissioner of whatever that league turned into, I think gladly strong, but I think she would absolutely step aside for the future prosperity of her membership. She absolutely would. And I need to know who specifically in the Pac-12 is saying no to a merger. Because it is not the exiting 5 members of the Mountain West. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't, and I will continue to ask that question.
Yeah.
And again, I want to make this very clear. We have not spoken to Scott Barnes. I emailed him, and I am continuing to check my email. He has not emailed back. And he likely will not. But if it is in fact true, as our sources have told us, that Scott Barnes in Oregon State spoke to the Big 12 recently, reached out to the Big 12 and the ACC recently about joining that conference, I think that is very telling about what is happening in the Pac-12. And I would also point out real quick, what has Scott Barnes always said about his athletic department? I'm always going to do what puts my athletes in a position to compete at the highest level of their sport. I think it's one of the endearing lines that came out of the Pac-12 meltdown when Scott Barnes at the 11th hour was out calling the Big 10, was out calling the Big 12, was out calling the ACC, was out calling the SEC.
Doing everything he could.
And it was just too late. It was just too late. And Oregon State fan was talking about how they were going to burn their diplomas and they were going to burn all their gear and they were never going to go to the new Reser and blaming Oregon State. I think certainly there is blame to go around. But if you think Scott Barnes is just hanging out, waiting for the grant of rights, the ink on the grant of rights with the Pac-12 to dry, I think you're out of your damn mind.
Yeah.
Because I think Scott Barnes, and I said the same thing about UNLV, when you're a free agent, as Scott Barnes is even right now today, because he's only got this upcoming year, this 2025, he's only got a year and whatever it is, 10 days. He's a free agent. If he's not talking to the Big 12, are you surprised? I would be.
Right. Yeah.
If he's not talking to, great point by you for once,
I know.
about Stanford and Cal, right? Like that to me makes all the sense in the world. If you could get the Stanford and Cal deal, are you doing that if you're Oregon State?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So for my money, I don't have a problem with Scott Barnes trying to get back to a P4 if in fact he did that, like our sources are telling us. I'm very curious to see what that looks like. But I am again going to tell you, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Because what we're hearing is almost never the full story. We're hearing little sprinkles of, well, I wonder if the Mountain West would take those schools back. Hey, yeah, UNLV, actually, do they have money issues? Well, yeah, they're real close on their money and they're counting it, but they stayed in the Mountain West because they didn't like what they saw in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense than, well, UNLV's broke and they couldn't afford to sue the Mountain West, which we told you on this show was a bunch of malarkey. Malarkey.
Yeah.
right? We told you that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. And for me, and the way I look at these things, I think we have no idea how tense things are behind the scenes. I know one thing, not everybody's sitting on like glassy, smooth water. There's not a chance in the world of that. Because when you have this kind of insecurity and these kind of conversations happening, and our sources, believe me or not, our sources are very familiar with those situations. And when you're asking about, hey, well, why don't you ask Scott Barnes about the Big 12? Well, you talked about UNLV. Have you asked Scott Barnes about the Big 12? No, but I will. And now I have, because I think it's a very fascinating conversation.
Yeah.
And again, I want to point out, and then I'm going to get to the comment section. Again, I want to point out that nobody said, oh, no, that's not true about Scott Barnes. No. Not one person we spoke to said that.
No.
And we asked a good bit of folks around college, hey, college football, have you heard about Scott Barnes in the Big 12? Well, it's funny. And what they do is they're like, well, I haven't heard specifically that Scott has done that. But when it's no, it's like, no, that's ridiculous. And then you ask the follow-up question, well, when do you say it's ridiculous? Because what most people will do in that situation is they'll say Scott is committed to the Pac-12 in the long term, and he is not. But we have not heard that one time, not one time. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. All right. Whew. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Because again, I'm going to ask the question. Do you think a merger is possible? I actually do think it's possible. And I've changed my opinion on that, because 2 weeks ago, when we reported that they were going to mediation on the 19th, I said then, yeah, I just can't see them merging at this point. But when we're starting to hear that the exiting members of the Mountain West are open to the conversation of a merger, that's when a red flag goes up, like, whoa. And then when you start talking to people involved in the situation on both sides, and they're like, well, yeah, of course we would. But then you hear it's a hard no when Gloria Navarro, as the commissioner of the Mountain West, approaches, Teresa Gould in the Pac-12. No. My guess is Oregon State, Washington State, and Teresa Gould are against it.
Are you willing to let your conference die on premise? Because you will not set your pride aside.
I don't know. Pride is a very dangerous thing.
It is.
Pride is a very dangerous thing. All right, who's in? Let's see let me go all the way back to the top. Wow, you guys have been phenomenal with the comments today. First one in is TJ Beck. TJ, where have you been?
Yeah, where have you been, dude? Slacking?
TJ Beck
just spending too much time on your plane, or what's the deal, dude?
TJ Beck occasionally emails me.
Why are you emailing?
Because he sends me Canzano stories. Because I don't subscribe. Of course. He sends me Canzano stories because I'm not going to, frankly, I am not a fan of Mr. Canzano's.
No.
It's mainly because he lost me way back on the back of the envelope calculations.
Mm-hmm.
And has just,
when they did the groundbreaking interview,
and they have just continued. John Canzano has continued on his podcast to be that guy, and I am not willing to play that game.
Back to the envelope calculations.
Yeah. Have you been letting the demons out again? What do you mean? If you're referring to the cough.
No, I think that's a reference. Is that a reference to the Bears rant to start the show last week? No. Or is that a cough reference?
I don't want to talk about them. Anybody see the Cubs last night? The Cubs last night. What did I tell you was going to happen? 2 outs, 0-2 count.
They're down to their last strike.
2 outs, 0-2 count. Fly ball to right. Mr. $8 billion contract waiting to happen, Kyle Tucker in right field. Does he catch it? Does he get back there? And, oh, yeah, Marty, I got it, buddy. This is for, double. 4-pitch walk. Remember, 2 outs, 0-2 count, double, 4-pitch walk, double down the line. Cubs lose.
We're on to Cincinnati.
They lose 8-7. So you scored 7 runs. You got pretty good starting pitching outside of the 2 home runs. The bullpen was solid. Then you don't have a closer because why would you need a closer in the major leagues? And that leads you to absolutely falling on your face and losing the game. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. I just am, you know, Conundrum says it's 3:00 in Arizona. Let's go. Hey, man, listen, we had stuff, bro.
Dude,
When I make the joke about, you know, Jake being like typing like a man, dude, that was me before. Like the phone would not stop ringing. I'm trying to get stuff done. I'm like, come on, come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Like trying to get it done. We're out of time. No. Phone just keeps ringing, keeps like text message. Like, dude.
we get it.
Mr. Preston, how the heck are you? Good to see you, sir. As always, Maury Alvarez. Sorry, boys, I missed yesterday. Merging is the best way to get the Mountain West and the PAC to work. I totally agree. Totally agree. Alumindursky, here comes the Mountain Pacific Conference. I don't know what you would call it. They need to merge.
Yeah.
They need to merge. I can just only say it so many different ways. Whether it happens or not, a merger seems like the logical move. So, Mike, you know this. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, the Mountain PAC.
Right. And you know what? For all of our listeners in Las Vegas and Arizona, I know that you guys, San Diego, for all our great San Diegans on the show, I'm sorry that JD Wicker's your guy. Right? Like, I know our contingent in the southwest corner, and this was going on for all of our Utahns. You guys know we're based in Salt Lake City. So all of our Utahns, when you guys were all certain that Utah was going to stay in the Pac-12 and the death of the conference, and we were trying to talk you off the ledge and tell you, hey, they're going to the Big 12. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They're going to stay.
No, it's not. We can't lower ourselves to those standards.
Money, the Utes are going to die. Go Cougs.
The opposite of full.
That was the whole conversation for like months on this show.
Cougs are going to die.
Right? Like, it was for months. And I'm telling you now, if you're one of our great Las Vegas UNLV fans, you guys are in a really good spot. If you are Arizona, you should probably learn where to put the decimal because you ain't making $240 million back. And for our San Diegans, just keep rooting for the basketball team.
Dude, it's rough.
Because I don't think you're winning football games anytime soon. I truly do not. There we go. Jennifer Young from the Advocates joins us on the Monty Show. Jennifer, good to see you.
Hello, good to see you guys. How are you?
Doing fair to mid-range. I am still coughing my guts up occasionally.
I can't believe how long you've been sick.
Well, you know, we were figuring it out the other day.
We're losing track at this point. I mean, it's probably been 6 weeks.
Not yet, because
No.
the Cubs, we went to Chicago for opening day.
Right.
That was April 3rd, the weekend of like April 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever. So then we got back from that trip on the 13th, and I was fine. It was the next week that the pneumonia set in and I was dying and we slept for a few days straight and lost track of our lives. And I've had this little cough ever since. And they say 6 weeks after the pneumonia virus thing dies, that's when you can expect your cough to go away. So we're probably...
You're close.
I'm sure you're tracking this on a spreadsheet somewhere, Jen, but I'm assuming that we're getting close. That's a terrible answer to your question.
I'm always keeping track of you. Always. I'm glad you're feeling better, but I'm sorry it's a lingering thing you're dealing with.
The next time I'm going to say, I feel great. How are you? Right? We'll just...
I mean, that does save some time.
It does. It really does. But you know, the funny thing is, right before you came on, we were talking about Arizona and San Diego and Las Vegas. The thing I love about you guys on the show is that you always have your hand in the communities you guys serve. And whether it's right here in Salt Lake City in the great state of Utah, why is community service such an important thing for you guys?
It's tough because personal injury attorneys in general, just nobody thinks they're fun, they're engaging, they want to do good things for the community. They think that they get such a bad rap. They're just out there for the money, and that's just not what the advocates are about. It's not who our attorneys are. It's not what our staff's about. So it's important to us to support the community that comes to us when they need help. And, we try to do some fun things and help local organizations and help bring awareness to organizations that might need some help.
Yeah. And I think when you look at things like, the Murray Children's Pantry, or we've done school supplies with you guys, Sub for Santa, meals at Thanksgiving. Like it to me, it's just, you guys are always in position to help people, because I say every day on the show, when you're in an accident, if you get hurt at work, if you get, now with this beautiful weather, if you're out riding your bike or your motorcycle, you get hit by a car, that's one of the worst days of your life. You guys understand that, because unfortunately you've seen the worst days in a lot of people's lives. And that empathy component I always talk about with you guys, it's so important. And it seems like you guys have that ability to be kind and caring. But man, when you want somebody to fight for you, the advocates is a really good place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the weather changing. It's funny how much the weather dictates what happens with our industry and with traffic in general. It is motorcycle season. It is time to teach your kids to count the motorcycles as they go by, so they grow up always watching for them. We do take motorcycle cases, car accidents, of course, but cycling cases, dog bites. So a lot of different types of cases. If you've been injured and it wasn't your fault, we're who you want to call.
It's funny. I was talking to you. You'll never believe it. I was talking to a guy I know that's an emergency room doctor. And he said, it's summertime. Keep your kids away from the dogs.
Yep.
Like you see that, like your neighbor's dog. I never even thought about it, but like your neighbor's dog hopping over a fence that's not a great recipe. So when you're talking about the things that you guys see in the summertime, it really is because there's more people out on the road, bicycles, motorcycles, dogs are out, kids are out. Like there's just a lot more activity during the summer.
Yeah, there is. And people are traveling more. They're, driving out of town. They're going camping, going boating. So the 100 Deadliest Days are going to start the end of this month. It starts at Memorial Day and goes to Labor Day. It's when people are probably the most reckless. They're probably driving impaired, more distracted driving. We have younger drivers on the roads. So 100 Deadliest Days on the roads, unfortunately, is during the summer when everybody's out. So it's important to be aware of your surroundings when you're on the road, and make sure that you're being cautious and respectful out there as well.
Yeah. And then I have to ask you about the commercials, because Mark waving, the line that I always hear about is "Hi, Dad," like in the background, like in the commercial. You guys have, how much effort goes into writing those commercials? Because you guys, it seems like you guys have the best spots.
We have a lot of fun with it. Like I mentioned before, personal injury attorneys don't have a great rap for being, kind people, but they're parents, their husbands, their wives. It's important to humanize them and make them look like they can be approached, and it's easy to talk to them. So our attorneys on staff are great. We have a couple different teams that writes the scripts or comes up with the concepts, and all the attorneys are always really excited to jump in and have some fun with it.
But I also think it's really, that thing I really appreciate about that commercial, Jen, is that it's in an emergency room on an iPhone, doing a FaceTime call, meeting in person. Like the other thing I say about you guys all the time is you're in your client's time and space. Like if it is a FaceTime call, if it is in person, if it is in your office, like you guys are really flexible to meet people, where they need to be met. Yep,
absolutely. We saw a big change with COVID. Everybody had to readapt. Everybody was working and living differently. So I think that was a really pivotal moment for our team, learning how to, reach everybody where it was comfortable for them. And they always did, but it's just such on a bigger scale now. And we've not really looked back. We've made sure that we're accessible, we're available, we're on call 24/7. There's always an attorney that will take your call. It's not an answering service. So it's important to us to meet you with your needs where you're at, because like you said, it is their toughest time. So we need to be there when it's convenient, how it's convenient for them.
And you never reach into your pocket to pay the advocates.
Not a penny, never. Even if we settle and there's a settlement, the check that you get is yours. Our fee comes out of that before we issue it to you. We pay all your bills. So you never write a check. You never get cash. You never swipe a credit card. It doesn't cost you a penny to work with us. And if we don't get a settlement for some reason, we're not going to backcharge you for the time. So there's really nothing to lose by giving us a call.
Clear, risk-free advice at theadvocates.com. See, I've said that 1 or a million times on this show.
Million one now.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. You've been such good partners. We've been in, over time, we've been in business with you guys as far back as 2013, back at the old K-Fan days. So, Jen, it is always good to see you. We really appreciate you taking care of our listeners and supporting the show.
Oh my gosh, I've got to thank you and your listeners for supporting us. The collections that we receive, the donations, the amount of money that we have been able to provide to these amazing organizations that we work with, your show has single-handedly taken that to a whole new level. Your listeners, you guys, you're absolutely amazing partners, great friends. I mean, you guys came out and supported us at the blood drive. That was so cool to see you. So you guys are amazing. And thank you all, your listeners, for all the support, all the donations, all the love. We've got some great stuff coming up this summer. So excited to share with you guys, and you guys can come out and visit.
Yeah, well, we were disappointed Jake didn't pass out donating blood and almost fall off the bus like he did in Arizona. But I thought the event went very well.
I do my best, I can only entertain so much,
You did good. I was proud.
He did do very well. I agree. It's always good to see you. We appreciate you. Let's do it again soon.
Thank you guys so much. See ya.
There you go. Jennifer Young with the Advocates. And you guys, and I know we ask you guys to participate a lot, but when you hear the Advocates, you hear Jen saying, because she's the one who reads, I should point this out. That lovely human being is the one who has to take the abuse that you guys put in the memo section of your Venmos when you send in your donations. Jennifer's the one that reads all those. But you guys make such a difference. And I know that a lot of times we have serious conversations about football or the Mountain West or whatever. When you guys donate money to the Advocates, it goes right back into your communities. And it makes a huge difference. When we talk about, hey, 1 in 6 kids is hungry, all that money we raised went to fight that 1 in 6 kids being hungry. I cannot tell you how much the Advocates care and are passionate about making sure we all live in a better community. And that when you have one of the worst moments of your life, an accident, whatever it might be, that they are there to serve you. When you need to be served, she straight up said 24/7, 365. It's not an answering service. You're going to get a call from a really good injury attorney who is going to give you clear, risk-free advice, and you never reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Thank you all for supporting us and supporting the show. Let's get back to your comments. What a first hour.
Wild.
Aiden Cabrera, love or hate the Monty Show. They haven't missed on every aspect of the situation. We've really tried, Aiden, and I know that a lot of people, there's a lot of people that love to tell us you're wrong. Dude, the proof is in the pudding, and we really appreciate that. Backwood Sexy Mike Smith, Monty Show members are the sexiest. We are. Fat Jesus, sorry, Jennifer, I'll do better. I'll be better. Exactly right.
Come on.
Exactly right. TJ Beck, the Demons reference was from last week. Jake's right. Yeah, I don't have much to hang on to other than Jerry Reinsdorf is old, and at some point he's on the clock.
I'm going to get medieval on your ass.
There are heavy rumors that Jerry Reinsdorf is told, the owner of the Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Bulls, Jerry Reinsdorf has told his heirs, if I die and we don't have a new stadium deal with Chicago, move this team to Nashville. Good, get out. Nobody wants the White Sox in Chicago anyway. No. Jim Choi, where have you been? Big Blue, we were soldiers, didn't read the book, but saw the Gibson movie. There you go. Cougar Tracks, my Dodgers. Hey, Shohei, the great gambler, he pays Muse.
Yeah.
came through for me last night on a break even on Prize Picks. Was amazing. Seth, who makes hats. Best option is Oregon State, Washington State go P4. Super League allows schools to level up without relegation. 5 Mountain West schools that want to leave, maybe the American. I don't think that's the best option at all.
No.
I think whichever one of these conferences, if it's 2 conferences, nobody's going to survive.
Everyone loses.
If it's one conference and they merge, I think it's the preeminent athletic conference on the West Coast. Look at the brands look at the basketball product. And again, I know we say it all the time and we get slapped around for it. The Mountain West is a really good basketball league. And that's not going to change now. You add Grand Canyon, hey, that's not, and now that's no indictment on the Pac-12. Adding Gonzaga was fantastic. San Diego State, fantastic. You look at the Mountain West, it's been a really good basketball league, and it will continue to be. Let's see, Ronan. I almost named my dog Ronan after the movie. Wasn't the whole point of the new Pac-12 to be like a springboard? No, it was not. It was
a springboard for what?
To whatever comes next, meaning a Super League. Absolutely not. It has been very clear from the get. And again, this is where I tell you, go listen to the other shows if that's what you choose to do as a masochist. Go do that. Because what I'm telling you is all these other people out here telling you that the Pac-12 is building back to being a P4, a power league, it's absolute ridiculousness.
Yeah.
There's no media rights value there that will tell you they're a power league. There's no path to that. None of it.
Well, most importantly, there's no designation that they are.
And nobody's going to vote them into that level. Why would you split the pot even further? You're not going to do that.
You would not.
You will not do that. Stay classy, San Diego. I love my friends in San Diego. Yup says UTEP sold out first game last year. It's got to be more than one. I think UTEP's a great ad. I really do. UTEP. If you look at the names being thrown around for the 8th full member in the Pac-12, UTEP or Texas State, I'm taking UTEP.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, I think Sacramento State, for all of you in the Pac-12 that are looking down your nose at Sacramento State, you're out of your mind. That would be a phenomenal ad for the Pac-12, in my opinion. Phenomenal.
I just think it's any type of conversation about additions to the Pac-12. I think it's just not their biggest problem right now. It is far from the priority.
I think you got to get this mediation. This mediation has to go well. It has to go well. There is no place in this process where you can pay. I don't know what number are you willing to pay, because you're not getting out of the poaching fees.
No,
you're not. I don't see. I was talking to a source today about, hey, what is the argument? The Pac-12 is not really even making an argument that the fees aren't valid anymore. They're not fighting that anymore. They want to settle. Everybody wants to settle. It's what you should want.
Yes.
And I'll continue to tell you, when you file a lawsuit, 9.5 out of 10 suits never see a judge because you settle. These cases are not, I cannot tell you, the Pac-12 never filed this in hopes of seeing a judge. They filed it knowing they never would.
But I think that backfired on them when they burned us time. You know?
Yeah.
You're out of time, man. Just telling you.
Yeah. Daniel Weisenhunt. Talking isn't the same as serious intent. I don't see it because of travel, and the Big 12 is already stretched thin. You mean with Oregon State? Now, if it was Washington, Oregon, then I'd be more okay with it, but that's not happening. I think if you're Oregon State, you'd be thrilled to be in the Big 12. Why would you not?
Well, in this question of the Big 12 being stretched thin, I mean, I don't know how, what you mean by that. I mean, do you mean to say that somehow the Big 12 financially, is already stretched thin? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean that it's more of a travel thing? I think the Big 12 for Oregon State would be a perfect fit. I think that that they are a Power 4 caliber football program. And I think obviously they haven't shown that because obviously they haven't been playing that kind of schedule after what happened. But I think when they were in the Pac-12, dude, they ruined multiple people's seasons. They were in contention to win the conference multiple times until the last couple of weeks of the season. They're a good program. So I just sit here and I say, hey, like, you've got 10 days to figure this out. Like, at what point do you set your pride aside and say, yeah, schools like Oregon State and Washington State probably deserve a little bit better and more Oregon State than Washington State? Because I think Scott Barnes has done everything that he can do, in his power to get through this process and put Oregon State in the best position possible. But he had no control over the Pac-12 melting down. He has no control over, Teresa Gould, in my opinion, being a bit stubborn about this and, somehow, some way convincing herself that the best thing to do is not to merge.
And you think that's what it is?
I think that's what it is, because if it wasn't that, we would have already heard, hey, mergers are definitely, the merger thing is really gaining steam on both sides. Like, it's attractive to both sides. Like, you'd have been hearing that. But
I don't necessarily think it's Teresa Gould on her own. I don't know that Teresa's got the juice to do anything on her own. She has a lot of people in her ear, but my belief system is that she's against it. That would be my guess. If you said, do you think Teresa Gould would be in favor of? No, I do not.
No,
I think Teresa Gould is old school Pac-12. The actions, antics, and the way that they have conducted business is hauntingly similar to the olden, not going to be on DirecTV, back of the envelope calculations. The new back of the envelope calculations is a hard no on a merger.
Yeah, it's just asinine.
The new not doing a deal with DirecTV is, we're not going to merge. It smells bad. It's really foolish not to be open to a merger.
Back of the envelope calculations.
Really, really, really
the only difference is you didn't go on a podcast and say it publicly.
The Big 12 is already stretched thin. So are you talking about geography? I mean, if you look at what's the furthest most western enclave? Provo, Salt Lake City?
Tucson. It's close.
Okay, Tucson. Tucson, Tempe. Okay, great. Well, you've got Tucson, Tempe, Provo, Salt Lake City. What's the furthest, if you look south, what is it? Lubbock, Houston, in the southern region of Texas, Houston, UCF to the east, Morgantown to the east. Like, I mean, you're not, I don't think it's stretched thin at all.
No.
I think you would love to have regionality, but that's not the way college football works anymore. It's why we have Rutgers and USC, right? I mean, it's why we have Stanford and Florida State. It's why, I mean, it just is what it is these days.
Yeah, it's part of doing business now.
The SEC is probably the one that's best insulated from that. But, Seth, who makes hats, I like how Monty and Jake pick up on what's not being said in a system. Good skill to have.
Well, I just think it stands out so much. Like, it does it not? Like, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but does it not slap people in the face that this conference was talking a bunch of junk and was like, oh, man, we're the best. Hey, here's a graphic. Here's everything. Oh, TV deal, yada, yada, yada. And then nothing. I mean, absolutely, positively nothing for how long now? Like, you would think if it behooved them to control the narrative, if it behooved them to comment on this, that we'd be hearing from them. But we're not.
Yeah.
And I just think it speaks volumes about where things are at.
I just don't know what is the negative in merging with the Mountain West and the Pac-12? Because I would think, my guess is, you'd probably call it the Pac-12 or something like that, right? I would think. I would think that you would have your current guard, including Scott Barnes. Scott Barnes is a well-respected guy. I would assume he'd be somewhere in the hierarchy there. I would assume.
Who wouldn't be?
You would have I don't know.
in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think anybody in their right mind said, "Yep, I'd rather have Teresa Gould over Gloria Nevarez."
Well, maybe it's neither of them.
I don't know. That's where if you just look at case by case, right? Nothing to do with the Mountain West or the Pac-12. Just look at them individually. If you're let's say this goes down the path of merger, everyone's happy, and they got to figure out who to lead this conference. I agree with you. Scott Barnes is going to be right in the middle of that leadership group. He's got too much experience not to be really good at what he does. But I think the thing that really stands out is Gloria hasn't been part of really bad negative situations. She has not, been like, you're not going to say Gloria Nevarez was part of the team that had their conference meltdown.
Well, you're not defined by what you do in easy times. You're defined by what you do in tough times. And I think she has shined.
And I just think that
in tough times.
And again, I don't mean to sound like a hater. But I guess I am. Like, I don't sit here and say, man, wow, dude, yep, Teresa Gould is the one I want. I would have, if I was her superior and she said, yeah, we don't want TV partners cutting us checks and just putting us on TV. I could not believe that came out of her mouth.
Because what did you just do for 2025?
Like there were so many. The problem I have is you in that interview could have done such a different interview. You could have taken the opportunity with Front Office Sports to totally define the direction of this conversation. You could have said, yep, we are open to all possibilities, but this is what we'd like to see happen. Like, I would never encourage her to say, no, we're not interested in merging publicly. You would never encourage anyone to say no to anything publicly.
One way or the other.
One way or the other. But what you're going to say, and what she should have said, and this is my problem, is, hey, yeah, we're open to any and all possibilities, but right now, in my opinion, in the opinion of my team and our peers in the conference, or in our group, if they're calling it that, we feel that our best direction is to add these schools and go about it that way.
We're going to do what is best for our membership.
But instead, you're too busy talking about that you need help from TV partners. Like,
what do you want in a TV deal? Well, you know what? We want somebody that can help us, build our brand. We want somebody who can showcase the best of our student athletes. And we want somebody that, is going to help us achieve both our distribution and financial goals. A media rights deal is a huge part of our financial portfolio.
But instead, again, my opinion, what'd you do? You assumed that this conference, without a doubt, 100%, no question about it, write it down, rubber stamp it, is going to make it just the way you thought they were going to make it. And I'm telling you right now, 10 days-ish to go, that there are so many possibilities on the table here that the original plan A for the Pac-12, it could be totally different by the time we get to June.
Yep, totally agree. Make sure you download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty. It is the daily fantasy partner of the Monty Show is Prize Picks. Use the promo code Monty to open up a new Prize Picks account. You deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more. We were not close last night to going 3 for 3. So 6 straight plays where we have not gone 3 for 3. And I would like to just point out that Jose Ramirez is a punk. And it is incredibly disappointing that he took the night off last night. And Sanchez and Freeland gave me 13 strikeouts when I needed 9.5. Life is good. Shohei gave me 3 hits, runs, and RBIs when I needed 2.5. Very disappointing that Jose Ramirez didn't play last night. But we've got the NBA Western Conference Finals. I have to go. How much do you believe in Anthony Edwards in a series like this?
I believe in him a lot. And for me, these games, it's obviously it's game by game. My gut feeling says that Minnesota is going to steal one here because I think OKC is not complacent, but you just won a big series against Denver. You know, in a series that a lot of people felt like, hey, you know, you got to prove something. You got to show us you can win that series.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, my gut says to go with Minnesota tonight to steal game one. I still think OKC is going to win this series, but I just think it's going to start off a little backwards tonight.
40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He did that 2 of the last 5 against Golden State. I can't go with 40.5 against a much better defensive team at OKC. I think, what about points and rebounds at 32.5? He did that 3 of 5 points and rebounds. That's tough. That is tough because you got to think Lou Dort's going to be on him. The Williamses will be on him. Does it have Rudy Gobert terrible looking free throws? Maybe
Rudy Gobert bricking free throws over under.
Maybe that's
5.
the way to go. Chet Holmgren 9 rebounds, 4 out of 5 against Golden State, or against Denver rather. Excuse me. 11.5 on a Demon. I think you go more than 9 rebounds on Chet the Jet. And then you got to ask yourself about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
31.5 points. Hate that. 44.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He did not do that one time against Denver. Does he do that against Minnesota? I'm going to say less. And then I think the only guy you can really look at on Minnesota, other than Ant, and I think it's questionable, Julius Randle. Julius Randle, 3-pointers attempted, 5, more or less.
What's he done in his last?
6-8, 6, 4, and 3.
I would go more.
I think so because I think they're going to be trailing.
That, and I also think that OKC is a good defensive team, and that typically is going to lead to more attempts.
Chet 9 rebounds, more. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander less than 44 points, rebounds, and assists. Julius Randle more than 5 3-pointers. Flex play that 20 to win 110. Going to submit that lineup.
Okay.
We're going to knock that down.
Okay.
Now, before the Cubs break my heart, who's on board with a Major League Baseball prize pick play tonight?
I'm down.
I'm really worried about this. Because, and I say that because I don't love the Cubs bullpen.
Yeah.
But if I look at the Cubs tonight, the Cubs and the Marlins who play in Miami, I think that Nico Horner, 6.5 fantasy points is a gimme. Ian Happ back in the lineup tonight for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
Total bases is very interesting. I did really well on the pitcher strikeout combo.
Okay.
Jamison Tyone and Ryan Weathers, 9.5. 9.5 pitcher strikeouts. I think I'm going to go more. They also have first inning runs allowed.
Always a fun one.
Half a run allowed combined. Will the Cubs or the Marlins score in the first inning?
Yeah, I'm going to take that. Yep.
You are going to take that.
Yes, I like that a lot.
You're such a dick. That means the Cubs will be trailing. Let's be honest.
Cubs are going to give up no runs, and the Marlins are going to give up no runs.
You're going to go less.
No, I said more.
Okay,
I said
good.
more. Yeah.
And then I think you got to go hits, runs, and RBIs. And I think Nico Horner or Dansby Swanson. The problem with Pete Crow Armstrong is he has been so hot lately.
Gotta ride the train, dude.
And he had 0 last night.
He's going to pick it up.
You think he's going to pick it up?
I'm going to take him on a Demon. 3.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
3.5?
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Fine, I'll go with you on that.
Hell
and then we
yeah.
got to find one more. I
Okay,
think
so
I'm going.
my third one, I took Ellie De La Cruz to have more than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
Where are the Dodgers? Ooh, Dodgers, Arizona. That's right. Teoscar Hernandez, who's back. 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Shohei's 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
What's Ipe?
Ipe's doing 10 to life. He's still not in jail, by the way. Ipe.
Yeah.
Hits, runs, and RBIs, 2.5. He's made that 4 of the last 5. So I'm going to go more on that. That'll be my, ooh, they took my Pete Crow Armstrong away.
What do you mean?
They took my Pete Crow Armstrong
What did you have?
away.
What did you do?
I was going to do what you did. 3.5.
Oh, they're giving that to me. Wow, that's crazy, dude. They took that away from you?
It is no longer eligible.
Wow.
That's wild. Okay. We'll go. Ooh, I got to do 4 now.
Why do you have to do 4?
Does it change the thing? 20 to win 90. All right, there we go. Lineup submitted. May the force and the Chicago Cubs be with you. Prize Picks. Download the app. Use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more instantly. Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app. Join the tens of millions of people who use Prize Picks every day. I love my daily fantasy. It's so simple. Here's the formula. You make 3 selections, more or less. Pete Crow Armstrong, 3.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So will he have 4 or will he have 3? I think he'll have 4, so I went more. Simple as that. Do 3 of those. Flex play. You only got to get 2 or 3 right to win. All right, let's get some of your comments in here for $4.99. I believe this is the first time Nebraska Red Bull 11.
Hey, Nebraska Monster 11. What's up, dude?
Does any of this matter if there is a Super League? It does significantly.
Good
because
question, dude.
That's an excellent question. I will continue to tell you that the Super League, and again, this is just my opinion, the Super League is going to price a hell of a lot of people out by design. Because you don't want, people want to throw around like 80 teams in a Super League. It's not going to be 80 teams.
No way.
It's too big. And I think when you look at the price tag is half a billion to $1 billion. How many people can afford that? How many G5 teams have the facilities to facilitate big games? Not a lot. How many have the budget or want to have the budget? Not a lot. So I think there's a lot who are automatically just shoop out.
See ya.
I think there's a lot of universities that will never opt into a Super League. And some of them will surprise you because they'll be in the Big 12. They'll be in the ACC. They'll be at the bottom of the SEC, the bottom of the Big 10. There will be some shockers when that happens, when you have to opt in. When this House settlement comes down, which I would guess will be this week.
Yeah.
How many opt out of that? I think more than you think. I truly think
A
a lot. It will surprise you. It will surprise you. Let's see. Mike Smith, stay classy, San Diego, indeed. Daniel Weisenhunt, Seth, who would want them outside of the ACC? What did Seth say? OSU and Washington State. I think the Big 12 would love Oregon State if it had worked out in time and space, but it did not. I think that Oregon State is a wonderful athletic department. It's a really good athletic department.
Yep.
Let's see. Ronan, the timeline is like 5 years. If the teams don't make it, those teams will lose so much freaking money that many will have to drop football.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think there's a lot that can happen in 5 years. Dude.
Yeah, I don't know that I
I
agree with that.
I understand the sentiment, but I can't agree with that entirely now.
Yeah. But we'll see. AAR, Oregon State University, Washington State Cougars don't want to split that Pac-12 conference pot. Well, I think you're running out of money.
When you're, again, money, time, options, I mean, at some point you got to get something done.
Guys, you start looking at the expenses of operating a conference and then suing another conference. It's not going to be
when you don't have a long-term, beneficial TV deal. I understand they got it for 25, but you're not sitting here flush with cash, dude. You've got a certain amount that you can work with, and that's about it. And that's why I say, the problem is they're not in a position to make concessions in mediation, right? They're not in the position to say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, Gloria, you know what? We'll pay the exit fees in full. We'll pay those poaching fees in full, and we'll just call it a day.
Yeah.
They're not in a position to do that.
Nope. Backwoods sexy Mike Smith. I used the Prize Picks app once and got a UTI. No more for me.
You ought to know you bought it.
Yeah, those unintended insertions are not good.
Biologics.
That's what UTI means, right?
Yeah.
I
right.
think that's HIPAA.
Sure, of course.
Big Blue Horses. Hockey has been great, dude. Hockey has been. Can you guys believe Toronto went out like that? Again. I mean, look, what you do in your free time, Jake, is up to you.
Listen, I mean, how many years in a row are you going to lose?
I don't know. I don't know, but it is.
And by the way, lose in embarrassing fashion, I might add too. Right?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
You get Florida at Carolina tonight on TNT. Oh, don't forget it's on Max too.
Oh man, wow.
Edmonton at Dallas tomorrow on ESPN.
That's going to be a great
series.
Dude.
I am all in on Edmonton. I want Edmonton to win the cup like I can. Speaking of UTIs, I'll take one if Edmonton. No, I'm not going to say that out loud. The Pontiff.
Hey, Pontiff.
Adequate leaders have a plan A or B. Good leaders have a plan C, D, and E in their back pocket. Sounds like Scott is trying to be ready when this all goes sideways. Sounds like he learned from past errors. Yes.
But see, is it that? Or because I don't necessarily disagree. It could be that. Or is this like, like, don't, like, based on what he knows way more about this than we do, obviously. He's in the middle of it. But is it that? Or is it, hey, we're running out of time, like, don't really, and again, running out of time, because we were recent times. So let's call it past 90 days. Let's be generous. Past 90 days or so, whatever.
Past 12 months.
12 months, whatever it might have been. Hey, we're running out of time. We have to, vet all our options, including outside of this situation. Like, I agree. He's a good leader. I would love to have him be part of the Big 12. That's not going to happen right now.
I think if Oregon State joined this conference, you'd be a better conference for it.
Yes, you would.
Plain and simple. Jeff Woodworth. Hello, Jeff. Under on all Rocky stats is a guaranteed win no matter how many you pick. Chris Bryant making contact for an entire season. One or more.
Buddy Black was not responsible for how ass that team is.
No, he really was not. No. Joey B, I sold my Rockies ticks here in Denver. Wife and I are done. 4 ticks and a parking pass for this weekend's Yankees series. We sold for $3,500. Last row, lower bowl at Coors Field, third base side. Nice.
Okay.
Nice. I'll tell you what, my Cubs season tickets are doing quite well for me. I'm not complaining at all. Not even a little bit. Take the over in every Rockies game this week through Memorial Day weekend. Hey, Jen from The Advocate said, Memorial Day to Labor Day, it's dangerous times. Dangerous times to be a Rockies fan. Like, they are truly
not good.
Terrible.
Garbo.
And the fan base supports them. That's the thing. RFR Mac. This is a really good show. Thanks. You're welcome, RFR Mac.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being a member.
Big Pontiff.
Hey, Pontiff.
Mitch Marner is so gone from the Leafs, dude. How are they? How?
How do you not close, dude? How?
Well, it's not even that you didn't close. Can I just ask, how did you lose 6-1 in a penultimate game? Like, how?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Now, I know that I'm kind of an idiot, but that was at Scotiabank Arena. I mean, that's Toronto, Ontario. Like, with Toronto, Ontario, the Toronto Maple Leaf.
The blue
at
leaf.
home. At home. I said 6-1. And it was 0-0 after the first period, and then you give up 3 in the second and 3 in the third, and you go out like a lamb.
It's embarrassing, dude.
It is.
It's
unthinkable.
absolutely embarrassing.
Unthinkable.
Unacceptable, and I don't care what you thought of, what was Buddy's name? Sheldon. I don't care what you thought of him. He is not why this team, has lost. Sheldon Keefe was a damn good head coach, in my opinion, and had them positioned time and time again. At some point, though, the players are responsible for not dumping it in, not playing your game.
Austin Matthews taking 2 shots the entire game.
You're down. At one point, you were down 3-1 in this game. Why are you not shooting more, dude? Why are you not being more aggressive? Prove a point.
I can't even.
I mean, what do you have to lose? Your season's over anyway, right? Like, come on.
I am amazed by it, and I just
the NHL needs them to be good.
That Sergei Bobrovsky only had to make 19 saves.
It's embarrassing.
In an entire game, that's rough.
In a game 7,
that's rough, dude. Jeremy Bolton. Hey,
dude.
Bro, you gonna apologize for all the crap you've talked about Alex Caruso? Weed in the airport be damned. He has been amazing.
Yes, he has. That headband's been cooking.
What's up, you freaking jabronis? This afternoon slot is brutal, much like Caruso's offense.
Bro, when are you coming out to the golf course, dude?
Yeah, when are we gonna play golf, man?
Yeah.
You guys, I'm so stoked this weekend for Memorial Day. As we pay our respects to those who have lost their lives in the line of service in this country. And I'm just going to get it out of the way on Tuesday. Please don't be going like, oh, hey, bro, happy Memorial Day. Doesn't work that way. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your time off. Enjoy the rest and relaxation of a 3-day weekend. But I understand why you're doing that, because of our military. Our first responders like firefighters, police officers, sheriffs, highway patrolmen. That's why we're able to enjoy golf at Bonneville on Monday. That's why we're going to, and Mrs. Monty and I are doing a staycation up in Park City Friday night and Saturday night, playing Park City Muni on Saturday, because men and women have given their lives for me to do that. And I appreciate that. Dude is a bum and will always be a bum.
Damn.
He's not, if you ask anybody in OKC. Don't ask the TSA because they'll agree with you. Jeremy I'm a bad person. It is what it is. You name the day, I'll be there for a round of Let's Find the Mayor's golf balls. I'm down, man.
That's right, T.
Come on out to South Jordan. Let's go play at
Glenmore.
Let's play Glenmore.
Yeah, bro.
I've got make goods. I have not been able to play so many rounds here. I think I have 4 rounds of golf at Glenmore because I just haven't been able to get there. And the weather has been horrendous.
Yeah, what is this nonsense? I get home Monday morning, 38 degrees. Thanks.
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's get to a couple other topics. In the comments section, are we all on board Pac-12 Mountain West should merge?
I believe so.
Is there anybody who disagrees with that? What do you make of this Ross Dellinger exclusive? Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, one of our favorite guys on the show. We read his stuff all the time.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of the Harbaugh rules? That's what I'm calling them. In a stunning move, Ross tweeted, the power conferences have drafted a contract that would bind schools to new enforcement rules and require them to waive the right to sue over decisions, sources tell Yahoo Sports. Schools not signing may risk conference eviction. To which I say, goddamn right. No more of this Michigan ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree 100%. And we were, before the phone exploded today with people calling us, I was calling this the scumbag Jim Harbaugh rules, because that's what this is. The Big Ten got drugged through the mud by that scumbag Jim Harbaugh, and then they never went to court because what was Michigan going to defend itself with? Because they didn't have the truth on their side at the end of the day.
Cheating, lying, and then playing the victim.
Jake, are you a fan of the scumbag Jim Harbaugh rules?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we need something that unifies everybody, and I think that that's what this is aimed at. I think that it's aimed at, hey, we got to be able to have accountability in short order, number one. Number two, I think that conferences need to have the ability to weed out the folks who are just kind of along for the ride. And what I mean by that is, in these conferences, like the Big Ten might be the best example. The Big Ten has loads of teams that are just terrible football programs that are just, getting fat and happy on that TV deal, but they're never going to compete for a national championship, never going to earn the conference, CFP distribution or shares, and are just chilling and are just essentially numbers, so that the guys who actually take football seriously can go out and add another win to the record. Right. And we saw it last year with Indiana. We see it every year with Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State, now Oregon. Like, you just have, random Big Ten team that's garbage and not interested. So I think what this does.
Garbo, please.
Yeah. Hot ass Garbo. Nobody cares about you because you haven't earned the right to be cared about type team. Yeah. That team.
Such as in Mike.
I think what this does is, yes, it allows conferences to discipline these schools and characters like Jim in real time, which we absolutely need in college football and college athletics. But number two, I think what it does is it sort of creates this commitment, if you will. Hey, like, if you want to be, because in Ross's article, it straight up says he didn't obviously name them, but multiple sources in Ross's article say things like, hey, if you want to be part of this, if you want to be in our power conference, if you want to have conversations about a super league and, being in the college football playoff, you got to sign this, because there has to be a certain level of commitment to everybody else in the conference. And I think that's where your label of the scumbag Harbaugh rules is proper, because the thing that nobody has said about what Jim did and what Michigan did, and so many before him in the Big Ten, as we all know, all those terrible, shady things, whether it's abusing people, stealing signs,
abusing the judicial system, it basically, what nobody's saying is that all this affects everyone else in your conference, and you don't give a damn about that. And maybe, just maybe, you would care if the conference had the ability to go ahead and slap you and smack you around when you did dumb things like that. And if you say no, you're out of the conference.
So you're not going to say no, you're going to say yes. And in fact, and we've discussed this before in other situations not related to the college football, when somebody fears, or has, maybe fears is the wrong word, but has a healthy respect for the consequences of a certain decision, maybe I'm not going to go and do X because I know Y is going to happen.
Maybe I'll think twice before I send Connor out on a sign-stealing mission, or before I go buy all those cheeseburgers for the kids. Maybe I'll think twice before I just, feed these hungry kids all these cheeseburgers.
Sign stealer guy.
And what this really does, and I think this could be one of the most important parts, this insulates the power conferences from continued litigation. And I think you're going to start seeing the powers that be in these conferences and in college football. And when this new entity is formed, and I'm telling you it's coming, there is going to be a new entity that will govern the highest levels of college football. When that entity is formed, you are going to see that it will insulate these Power Four members from lawsuits. And it's stuff like Jim Harbaugh flagrantly breaking rules, not once or twice, multiple times, whether it is COVID period recruiting.
That we know about, by the way.
That we know about. COVID period recruiting, lying and being dishonest, according to the NCAA, cheeseburgers for hungry kids, Matt Weiss, Connor Stallions, like, the list is endless. And then after you've taken a self-imposed suspension, now you want to go to court. Now you want to try and get an injunction in front of a judge who played football at Michigan and went to Michigan law. And yet at the 11th hour and 59 seconds, you pulled that injunction and agreed to take the penalties levied. You drug everybody through the mud. You wasted people's time. You wasted people's money. And this stops that from happening. And I agree with you. I think it makes you think twice about it, because the punitive nature of the penalties that are being tossed around are significant. And at some point, you've got to care about your ethics and your morality.
Yes.
At some point, that has to matter again.
And if conferences have to do it by carrying a big stick, they're going to do that.
Because did anybody else see this Nick Saban story again today?
Doubling down.
And these two are very important. These two are like peanut butter and jam.
What am I supposed to do with that?
If I have to explain to you what you do with this, then you have bigger problems in your life.
I let you down as a dad, okay? You know what I mean?
Nick Saban, again, according to Mike Rodak, Nick Saban speaking Tuesday at the Knicks Kids Golf Tournament in Birmingham.
By the way, the old Sabanator can golf a little bit.
Yes, he can. Quote, I know there's been a lot of stuff out there about some commission or whatever. Some commission or whatever. I believe that's the Presidential Commission to Save College Sports. I don't think we need a commission. Second time you said that. I've said it before. I think we know what the issues are. We just have to have people who are willing to move those and solve those and create some solutions for some of those issues. Oh, I don't know. Maybe that could be the Harbaugh rules.
Oh.
Like putting in binding agreements to new enforcement rules and require them to waive their right to sue over those decisions.
Or you can go and be independent or play with a G5.
Or you can go ahead and join the Pac-12.
Get your ass out of here.
It's all working together, man. I think what this tells you is the power players in college athletics don't want anything to do with legislation. The power players in major college athletics don't want anything to do with Donnie swooping in and telling them how to do their business.
Nope.
Because at that point, now you're paying more lawyers. And I think, and it was said with this Pac-12 Mountain West story we've been working on, how many times did people say to us, we're tired of paying legal fees. We got to stop paying legal fees. Hey, this is getting expensive. Hey, we're going to go broke on legal fees. I can't tell you how many times I heard that. I think people are tired of paying judges and arbiters and investigators and
they're tired of talking about it, bro. Like,
get the house settlement done.
Gosh.
Get the roster limits done. Take care of Title IX. Create a new entity.
But can we get back to focusing on making a good football schedule? Like, good Lord.
I'm telling you, this is the biggest problem that we have in college athletics is that we always wind up, instead of in an end zone or in a championship parade, we wind up in a courtroom. We wind up at an arbiter or a mediator table. We wind up cutting checks to lawyers instead of putting money in our pocket and building the game and talking about football games on the field. We're talking about court cases off of it.
Yes.
And I think people are sick and tired of it. I'm never sick and tired of motherfucking Calford coming in here with 20 Monty Show members.
See, you do this to me.
Tiger, hit the...
Stay hard.
Tiger.
Calford, always appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
20
bro.
Monty Show memberships. Go suck them up.
Okay.
Slurp it.
What am I...
That's every day.
What?
Go suck them up?
Slurp it. You know. I'm just trying to encourage people to become members of the show.
What else are people saying? We haven't read a lot of comments.
Let's see. Merge away, but add Utah Tech, who will win 9 straight Pac-18 championships.
Giant,
I'm here for it.
Dude. Bro.
I'm here for it. Jeff Woodworth, tore my Achilles playing basketball with my kids, so no golf this summer.
Oh.
No. Do you know how many people I know?
Dude, it's happening a lot right
Bruce
now.
Summerhays, one of the golf pros that we know real well. What was he doing? Playing basketball, tore his Achilles, walking around in a boot, still playing golf, but walking around in a boot. You know, like that's rough, dude. I hope that heals well for you. Jeff Woodworth. God damn it.
Dude.
It doesn't say anything about vacuum repair NIL deals, so it's a no pass for me.
That's a no for me.
It's going to be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Dan Davis, Pac-12 for life, no more dead weight. But do you get dead weight if the two conferences merge? And when you say dead weight, Danny, define what that is, because I'm curious. Because in no way, shape, or form am I convinced if these two conferences merge that everybody who's on the roster stays on the roster.
It's always someone who gets the short end of the stick, bro.
See Oregon State and Washington State. Right?
Because what would that conference be? If what would they be? Would they be 16? I'd have to.
You can't be 59.
I mean, what would they? Hold on.
Right. I mean, you've got 10 in the Mountain West. You'd be like 18 to 20, depending on who's in and who's out. How are you gonna? With that amount of money, you're just diluting things. But we'll see. Johnny Gonzalez, the advocates could show the PAC the front of the Excel spreadsheet calculations, but have they reached out for just that? No. Instead of the back of the
you're
front
14 with Oregon and Washington State and the current members, and then you've got Gonzaga,
GCU. That's 16.
That's 16.
You'd be 16.
Oh, dude, that's a lot for that level of conference. That's a lot, dude.
We'll see. I don't know. We don't. Who knows? Jimmy Buffett was talking about Ann Arbor when he wrote Cheeseburgers in Paradise. Who knew?
Dude, we got to stop talking about cheeseburgers, bro.
Who knew? Yeah, I could.
This is rough right now.
Although I did have a really good, bro. I have been crushing the nutrition lately. Yesterday for lunch, I had a teriyaki bowl that was a bag of peas, brown rice, chicken, avocado, and teriyaki sauce. Dude. I'll tell you, I went to the Super Bowl. I went to the Super Bowl twice yesterday, and both were
just incredible, Monty. I mean, unbelievable performance out of Monty at the Super Bowl.
You get up and you look backward and you're like, God damn. God damn. You know. Oregon got a $15 million extra in 2024 in TV money. They needed for the debt from Matt Knight Arena, whose loan scheme cost the university $250 million in interest over 30 years. Okay. That $250 million extra on top of the $200 million cost of the arena, most expensive ever. There are
always
no different show. Always. Rock and Rant, what's up? All for the rules they are discussing in Ross's report, but telling a state school you can't follow state law won't work. Well, it's funny you bring that up, because if you look at, like, you look at the lawsuits in these conferences, why was Cal and UCLA such a fighting point? Well, because they're in the same academic system. Let that sink in, right? They're in the same. So you've got calimony from UCLA to Cal because they say one damaged the other by doing what they did. Right? Well, then what do you say to Fresno State and San Diego State? They're in the same education system.
Yep.
Why are Fresno State? Why? And one person asked me today, why isn't everybody suing? Why aren't all of the exiting members involved in that lawsuit? Well, because I think state law would prohibit that. State law would prohibit that, is my guess. So, I mean, as soon as I saw that initial lawsuit over the exit fees, I was like, yeah, you're not going to get San Diego State and Fresno State involved in that. You're just not. Right? Zona Tucson.
Hey, Tucson.
Good to see you. Weber State needs an invite. Yeah. Do they though? Sergeant Morhew, Mountain West needs to add Tarleton and North Dakota State. No, they don't. They're good. They got that membership. The Big Pontiff. Ho ho! I don't want any government entity involved with athletics. Once the government gets their Hand in the pocket, they will squeeze the cajones till there is no juice. You're not wrong about
100%.
that. You are not wrong about that.
Hundo
And I continue to tell people, you don't want to do that. You just don't. And a lot of people don't listen to me, but when you open the door, man, it's awfully difficult.
Yeah, you open that thing a little crack and they just come.
Man, listen, you open the barn door and the horses get out. Good luck getting them back in there. And that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Jeff, we were at PAC 69 with the Beavs and Cougs.
Yeah.
Okay. Eric Wasikowski, how's Florida, buddy? How we doing? The whole dead 12 is dead weight.
The dead 12.
Yeah, I don't think that's what people agree.
The dead 12. Who how did you come up with that? I mean, is it really like why do you hate on the Pac-12, dude? I've never heard anybody call it the dead 12. Like
I don't think it is. I don't think it is the dead 12. I think it is. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think private equity is not a good idea either. So you don't like private equity. Look up the stories of the city of Chicago selling the parking to private equity. Huge blunder. Well, it's a little different though, because you're not selling a controlling interest, right? Yeah, the parking meter situation as a Chicagoan, not good. But you look at private equity in sports is different. You can never compare the money of sports to the money of real life.
Yeah.
They're playing with monopoly money that most of us will never be able to understand. I mean, how many people watching the show make $100,000 a month in their life? These guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars a month. You look at the money that college football generates, it's wild. You can't fathom it. Like we talked about this with the Dodgers the other day. Think about the money they have deferred for decades. You can't even imagine that. So when you talk about private money, private equity, coming in and buying 10% of the Washington Commanders, Charles Woodson buying 1/10 of an eighth of a ninth of a percent, it's not going to have a controlling interest. Tom Brady buying a minority share, it's not going to have a controlling interest. But here's the thing I do know. You think private equity firms come in and invest and not expect to make a return? What I've always said about private money, and it's why I hope that the ACC, the Big 12, you want to get on a level playing field? Go get some private equity. Get the money you need to compete. Because if you get private equity, yes, better compete. Because if you're not competing, you're not making money. And if you're Dave Aranda or if you're the mullet in Stillwater, you better get your ass up the ladder or you're going to be gone, because now private money's involved and they want their return.
Yeah.
And I am all about it, because I think the days of lazy ass athletic directors not pushing to win every single minute of every single match, game, and contest and meet, those days should be over. Keeping mediocre coaches for, and I rail about this all the time if you're new to the show, that Oklahoma State gave Mike Gundy a pay cut and publicly acknowledged so. And the reason they gave was, yeah, we need more money for NAL, so we're going to cut the coach's salary. Yeah, who's going there?
Bad luck, dude.
Who's going there?
Really bad luck.
Nobody's going there. Not until Mike Gundy's gone, not till they pay a coach. Yet, when Alabama had an open job, everybody wanted it. Dan Lanning interviewed, turned it down. We'll just bounce back with Kalen DeBoer, who was in the national championship game last year. Because it's big money with big expectations. And if you don't want those expectations, go and play intramurals, brother. As Dan Hawkins said all those years ago.
Yeah.
I love the idea. I love it. Jeremy Bolton. We still haven't put together the All-NBA fat team. Why are you calling me fat?
I mean, I'm fat.
Who's leading, Harden, Zion, or Tua?
I don't know who Harden is. I don't know who James Harden is. So
Larden.
Thank you. Yeah, James Larden, obviously.
And look, Teletubby Zion, he's lost. He must be on the pen because you and I both know.
Oh, he hit the Pennifer.
Yeah. Yeah, did you guys see, by the way, on the Ozempic Wegovy thing?
Fat.
I'm so glad I never did that. Like, the weight I'm losing is purely through eat less, work out more. Did you guys see that now the industry standard is half the dosage that they were getting when everybody was on the needle for Ozempic and Wegovy? And yeah, let me just go ahead and stick that in my ass once a week and take double what is now believed to be healthy.
And it's very powerful.
Now, no one, and you guys wonder why you were shitting yourselves and your pancreases were blowing up.
So I said, yeah.
We're so stupid. We're so stupid. It's Taco Tuesday, bro. Tell me about it. I had a burrito for lunch. Anybody feel better? Rock and rant. When are you going to change your name to Screw Cristobal? Nick Saban, I'm in. I'm out. Wait, I'm in? Nah, I'm out. Exactly. Eric Wasikowski, Conundrum, chill out. What did Conundrum say?
God, what is Conundrum doing?
I don't know. Conundrum tends to get a little out of left field, so I don't read much of his stuff. Jeremy Bolton, what a dick. Kidding.
Nice headband.
Shaq definitely on their tractor trailer. Jeez, he's dead. Isn't Robert Tractor Trailer dead now? He's no Benoit Benjamin. Guys, remember Bennett? What's his name? The Cavs draft? Anthony Bennett? Oof.
Yeah, it's rough, dude.
Oof. Rock and rant. What's going on with our two most legendary coaches in football? Interventions needed. They lost, dude. Everybody's lost their mind. Calford Calamoni. Exactly.
Calamoni.
Right. But now you look brilliant. Right now, as Jake said earlier, and it's one of the smarter things he's ever said besides I love you, Daddy.
James.
James. Where's Oak State James?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a minute, dude. Is he in today?
No. Damn Oak State fans. If you're Oak State, or if you're Oregon State, wouldn't you take the Stanford Cal deal every day?
Yes.
I think that's good.
Yes.
There he is right there. I'm in 100%
well.
agreement as an Oak State fan with Monty. I love the idea of the Mountain West Pacific Conference. I'm a night owl, love watching football late on a Saturday night. Daddy. And as an Oak State fan, you're not going to have much to watch during the day. So you'll be able to.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Guy, you've been here 5 minutes and I'm already being it.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
It's good to see you. Oak State has done much better in the portal this year. Whoa, Hoss Hengy lost the job. They have 3 solid old linemen coming in. The Cowboys will be better this year. Yeah, I can't believe it. They're going to be 1-7 instead of 0-8. I expect Oak State to be in a bowl game this year.
That's fucking interesting, man.
But I thought you were a TCU fan.
Yeah.
There's an open seat at Cheers. Yeah. All of my childhood friends, Norm from Cheers died today. That's a good dude, man. Like that is it. That is a legend. He's a guy that when you look at what Cheers meant to TV and what George Wendt meant to Cheers, that is something that you'll never be able to replicate. We'll never have a show like that again. And I think it's really just, it's too bad. I think it is, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where, like, did you finally watch Mobland?
No.
God.
I went to bed early last night.
You're disgusting.
Dude, I'm going to watch it tonight, bro. Like, I went to bed early.
I've been trying to talk about Maeve being killed for like
Maeve
3
didn't
days.
Die.
Okay.
No.
Right here. Put your money where your mouth is. Right here.
Don't play intramurals, brother.
No, I'm not.
Come on, let's go. What do you want to bet?
Dude. No.
How about this? If
No.
If Maeve is not dead, I have to buy Five Guys for a year. But if Maeve is dead,
if Batman doesn't turn himself in.
if Maeve is dead, you have to buy Five Guys and golf for the next 6 weeks.
Okay, that's a little excessive, dude. I'm the Pac-12 here. I'm not the Mountain West. Okay, like relax.
I've been trying to talk about the unbelievable way that Maeve died on Mobland for like 3 days, and certain people won't watch.
Get piped. There's no way.
Come on.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Why?
Because I think you're grandstanding. There's no way. She's crucial to the show.
What do you? I'll pay for golf for a year if Maeve is still alive, and I'll pay. It'll be Pelican Hill.
Stop.
It'll be whatever you want.
Waves in opposition.
Dude, put the raccoon on the screen. You're being the meth raccoon right now, bro.
Yeah, because she's not dead. I've been trying to talk about Mobland for like 3 days.
I'm gonna watch. I will watch it tonight.
And certain jerk faces who haven't turned on the Cubs game yet. Certain jerk faces.
What's the turn on? I mean, do we want to just fast
yes?
forward?
There's a run in the first inning. The Cubs are up. That means Prize Picks is a winner, dude.
Stay hard.
I'm telling you right now. I am telling you right now. Yes.
What did I tell you?
Oh, my man. Let's go. Okay, high five myself.
What did I tell you?
Yes. Weathers gave it up. I love it. I absolutely, and it wasn't PCA though. Damn. That would have been amazing if PCA would have gone Jack Dizzle. We'd have won the run in
Jack Dizzle.
That would have been amazing. If Maeve is dead, you owe BDM a Red Pills jersey.
It is what it is.
Oh!
So good.
So
that
good.
Was so good. Dude.
Mirren does a great job as Maeve. Mobland rocks, doesn't it? And it's getting crushed. Now, season 2 is done already. It's been penned.
I do agree with the complaints. Not to get too sidetracked. I agree with the complaints.
What's the biggest complaint?
The biggest complaint is that it's hard to follow. That you have to piece together some things. Especially with the younger kid, the blonde kid that I can't remember his name.
Shithead.
You have to piece together some things. But I got to tell you, I loved it from the first episode. The vibe of it,
I'm
music.
a big fan.
Tom Hardy is sensational in that show, in my opinion.
I think Pierce Brosnan's really good in that show.
He is very
I
good.
think, like Mountain Mama said, I'm a huge fan of Maeve. I think the way that she has portrayed Maeve, it has been fantastic. This episode was a little predictable. I was able to predict that the FBI agents were going to be killed. Never not FBI agents, but that those investigators were going to be killed, and that you haven't seen it yet. God. Anyway,
yeah, I know what time it is.
But the chainsawing that happened 2 weeks ago,
dude, that was
completely unpredictable. This cat character, completely unpredictable.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really good. So, yeah, sorry, dude.
It's fine. It's fine.
There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that. Tulsa King is a phenomenal show as well. I've only seen season 1. I've only seen season 1 of Tulsa King. I'm not the biggest Sylvester Stallone fat guy in the world.
Yeah.
I don't like him fat. So I just am not sure that, is this live or you want to fast forward this or what? I don't think it's live. I could be wrong. Stating I'm not and I am and will always be a Cowboy fan. No, you are a TCU fan. You're a TCU fan. However, now that I'm a student at TCU, I'm a TCU fan. Exactly right. Exactly right. I will root for the Frogs. Good news, they don't play each other this year. You can only have one, dude. You can only have one. Yeah, Ian Happ's back in left field. Who knew?
Where are we at in society today?
Not catching fly balls. Johnny Gonzalez, spoiler alert. Yeah, sorry about that.
No,
spoiler,
fine,
mofo.
My bad.
It's
all good, dude.
Landman is good. Have not seen it.
Dude,
Jake loves
outstanding.
it.
I will say, on vibes alone, I prefer Mobland, but Landman is very good.
I'll be honest with you. I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have to. Between Chicago PD, all the Law and Orders, including SVU, Mobland. Like
if you're trying to be Team Paramount or Team NBC, you're gonna have a tough time, dude.
Well, I get both because we have Prime. We have Amazon Prime Video, so you get Prime, you get Paramount through Prime.
Yeah.
But between golf, like I'm building this. Who's calling you, man?
Some spam call from Ohio.
See, I don't allow unknown numbers to call my phone.
Oh, it hasn't been that big of an issue.
Between golf, like building this side hustle I'm working on, like who's got time for more TV? Like my wife, I am married to a stud. Like she's out doing triathlons now. She gets up this morning and she's riding the bike, and the girl is just, I love it. Jacob Steinecker, but Monty.
No, but Monty's.
Meat Chicken is America's team.
Okay, meat chicken?
What am I missing?
What the hell is that?
Hiscock.
No.
Hiscock.
No. God.
Well, he said meat chicken. What am I supposed to do with
Why
that?
do you always go to penises? Can we get this out on the table?
Macaque.
Oh! Why do you always go straight for the meat?
He said meat chicken. Like,
what does
what
that
else
have
does
to
that
do with
mean?
a penis?
What else does that mean?
Oh
That's
my-
got to be a reference.
To a guy like you, that is what it means. Chewy, James is an IPF and upper secker fan. Well, there you go. Jeremy Bolton. Guys.
Guys.
If you could spoil any show to two shakes, which would it be? Well, if you watch the show on time.
Via social media.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
Black Mirror is awesome. I've heard that. Root for the home team. James, and you live in Metroplex. Well, yeah. Law and Order HIV is great. Not funny. Well, funny. Jacob Steinecker, a few years late, but Homeland. Oh, my God. Homeland.
Yeah, dude.
Bro, so yes, pick him off. Suck it, Marlins.
The Homeland House of Cards run back in the day was epic.
Oh, man.
Before Buddy,
Dude.
went sideways.
Jeremy Bolton, if I had a nickel for every time I was called meat chicken. Hey,
You
boy.
see what I mean? Like, what
Hey,
am I?
boy.
Like, how am I supposed to just leave that alone, dude?
Anita Dick and me.
Yeah,
Let me see
right?
that meat chicken, boy.
Yeah, like, come on.
Why you guys are such sickos? Like, why does it not surprise me that you and Mayor McCluskey are like, oh yeah, meat chicken. Let's sword fight.
Come on, dude.
Let's sword fight. Show me your nuggets.
Yeah.
Like,
Stay
home.
that's who you guys are. Like, what is wrong with you guys? My God. Pierce Brosnan's last good show was The Sun. Dude, he's really good. In Mobland, Pierce Brosnan's very good. I think he's good. The girl that plays the love child daughter,
Mm-hmm.
she's excellent. I think it's a great cast. Mobland is a great cast. Jeremy Bolton, I'll sword fight anyone, anytime, any place. And
Okay, look, MILF Hunter, you need to chill the hell out.
he's
okay?
not the MILF.
Yes.
God.
That's a MILF Hunter reference.
Okay.
Well, what else would that be?
That's true. You saved yourself. Meet sword fighting. Exactly.
Right.
Gabriel, dude, what's happening right now? I have no idea. I'm working. I'm at work building GM trucks in Fort Wayne. Are you really?
Wow,
My
nice,
guy.
dude.
Let's go.
Nice, bro.
I love me some union workers in this country.
One of my buddies
Love it.
bought a GM diesel and loves it. What?
Only you would say something like that.
Why?
Because you're the guy who just bought a catless, even though they say it's got cats on it, a catless VW.
I don't see a check engine light.
Yeah, exactly right. Launch, check engine. It's not throwing, not throwing codes. So how can it be catless?
You have to check it before you wreck it.
At least you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it seems fine to me.
Germans know what they're doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they know that it's catless without codes. And Pierce was also on Cheers. Okay. I have Prime and I don't get Paramount. Is that right? Well, everybody ain't able. I don't know. My wife, okay. I'm just waiting on who the next Bond is going to be. Ooh.
Seriously, bro. Need it. Are you guys in for Mission Impossible? The last one?
I
think it looks amazing.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. We used to, before Jake grew up, Jake and I used to go and see the Mission Impossible movies together as father and son.
You know,
now we can't even golf together.
That's not true.
You know,
we're playing one of our favorite courses Monday.
Shut up.
I mean, we are.
Yeah, after you went to Kansas City last weekend and got the HIV.
Well,
mission accomplished. I'm a huge fan of Mission Impossible movies. I am. Throwing codes got me throwing bows. Okay. Steinecker says local 2209 strong. Let's go, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate the hard work you guys put in. Thank you. Jeff Woodworth, forget sword fighting. Try tummy sticks.
Okay,
what is wrong
bro,
with you?
Chill out.
My God.
I didn't say that.
My God.
I did not say that, dude.
Brooks Koepka, got to start stroking dudes. Like, are you kidding me?
Sorry, I thought you just said tummy stick.
You got to get stroked.
He did say tummy sticks.
Honestly, I'd start stroking guys.
You just have to start stroking guys.
You know, we were having a perfectly fine show, and then Mayor McCluskey showed up, and now we're doing tummy sticks.
I think I've hit it every time.
I'm sure you have. Scientology equals give me all your money so Tom Cruise can live his best life. Dude, he's jumping out of helicopters, and he's like 98 years old. I am here for it. Gabriel, come on, people. It's Tuesday.
Yeah,
exactly.
Come on, get with the program here.
Yeah, it's way too early in the week to go off the rails. Okay?
Off the rail.
That's Wednesday, Thursday kind of stuff. I installed a rear seat and secure the seat belts on the driver's side. Nice. We never ever. Do you guys ever think about how cars are made and put together in this country?
Nope.
Nobody does. We just drive them until the cats fall off or they throw codes. That was Jake on the episode of Law and Order HIV. There you go.
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
Got to start stroking dudes.
Yeah.
That's better name than meat curtains.
Okay. First of all, it's beef curtains.
Well, you know.
Thank you, dude.
Wow. You want Arby's for dinner. I'm just telling you now, you guys can't be trusted to control the content flow here. Oh, meow, Jacob says. Wow. Right, meow. Jeremiah Champion. Well, certainly glad I tuned in.
Sorry, folks, that's what it is.
Backwoods Mike Smith, I'm so bricked up that Scientology turned me down. Oh, I'm so bricked up right now.
So bricked up right now.
Holden Middick.
Like, come on.
Oh,
come on.
And the best part about that is it's real. It's in an actual Florida like legislative session.
Waves in opposition. Anita Dick is an opponent. Waves in opposition. Holden Hiscock is also an opponent. Hiscock.
Oh,
waves in opposition.
And the gal that's handing him the cards, you can see her like, oh,
Anita Dick.
It's so good.
Waves in opposition. Anita
Just
Dick.
Watch the girl on the right of the screen.
Is an opponent.
Holden.
Waves in opposition. Holden Hiscock is also an opponent.
Oh, man. Bros.
Too real, bro.
I'm telling you, it's stuff like that makes the world go round. Last hour of the show is great therapy. Well, if you can't laugh, you'll cry. Right? If you can't laugh, you'll cry.
100%.
And yeah. Cougar Tracks. Mission Impossible movies are great. I love them. I absolutely love them. And I'm ready. I am so ready. I like Tom Cruise. I'm bummed they're making a Top Gun 3. I'm not happy about that.
They're making a 3?
They are. It is the contract is signed and it is in development. And I am not happy.
And he's not in it?
He is.
Oh, he is in it. Okay.
I don't need another Top Gun.
No.
I don't need another Miami
felt
Vice.
like the Top Gun 2 was actually a really good like capper
yeah,
for that
let
series.
it go. It's over now. But the problem is in Hollywood, we don't do anything original.
I haven't seen the new is the new F1 movie out yet?
It is not, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks, but that's
Brad
that
Pitt.
was shot similar to Top Gun. The same people who shot Top Gun shot that one.
Yeah, and it looks phenomenal. And all of the social media around the around the actual style and execution of the filming of F1, the cinematography part of it, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan, and I really hope that you guys hit the like button. Please get us to 100 likes by the end of the show. We just need 22 more.
I think I have a couple of Mission Impossibles to catch up on, though. I don't think I saw the last one. I could be wrong,
Right,
though.
because now you're like, oh, I lived with
Here
my
we go.
girlfriend,
Here
and
we
now
go.
I went to a wedding, and there's
Here
pressure.
we
How much pressure is there to
Here
get
we
engaged, Jake?
go. Here we go.
Seriously, how much pressure is there to get engaged?
A reasonable amount.
Like,
Like in
how is that being put to you?
I mean,
Hey, asshole, when are we getting engaged?
I mean, it's not quite that blunt.
My
but
daughter deserves a ring.
No,
You
her
dirty
parents are not
scumbag.
those people. No, her parents are not those people.
Her friends are all like, yeah, if you loved her, you would have married her already.
I mean, there are jokes made and stuff. but
Scumbag.
we'll be fine, dude.
Who are you, Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Johnny Gonzalez, that's exactly right. Is Jake living in a what if scenario? No, but all of his girlfriend's friends are. Well, what if he doesn't love you? He'll never give you a ring. If he
I don't
loved
live
you,
in a what if scenario.
but if he loved you, he would give you a ring already. Dude, trust me, the bun would be in the oven. The yeast would be rising. But
And
it's
I'm a
not,
vampire feeding off mass disappointment.
right? That's who Jake is. He doesn't love you. He's out there philandering around with every other softball coach in the world.
Perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip.
You know. Trust me.
Yeah, boy.
When he says he's just outside your zone, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, I win. Google me.
I really hope. Yeah, and it's fine. There's another Twister movie too. We don't need
Come
that.
on.
We don't need that. Come on. Anything with Will Ferrell is always a banger. Ma, the meatloaf. Such a good movie. Such a good. Are they built for fun or are they built for speed?
That wasn't Will Ferrell.
Right, but he's in that. God,
I know, but that wasn't Will Ferrell.
please make Jake less
Come
stupid.
on.
Please make Jake less unintelligent.
Like, come on.
If you and your dad could reach inside Jake's orifice tonight and implant intelligence,
And you two motherfuckers need Jesus.
that would really help. Thank you. Oh, and can I have a better financial year next year? All right, thanks. All right,
I doubt that.
All right, and screw Marcus Freeman. Thanks. All right, bye. And can I borrow your season tickets to Notre Dame?
All
for
right,
when
we're
you-
gonna move on
just
here.
wait, no, wait, geez, where are you going, buddy? No, I
don't give a baker's fuck.
look, I understand the cross hurt and everything, but if you could just do one set of tickets, that's he. I'll do the whole he is risen
really
thing.
unfair.
I'll move the rock myself if you just one set of tickets. Tell Dad I said hi. Okay, see you at the game.
Hello, we are not available now.
I'm so glad hell is not real. Okay.
And it's going to go into crisis lockdown mode here at the house.
Jake, never give in to the pressure. You can't give in. You can't give in. You can't give in. That's right. Does he love you? Well, he loves parts of me. Exactly right. Apparently not your ring finger, though.
You want to explain that?
Meanwhile, Spaceballs 2 is never coming. It's a bummer when your Spaceballs aren't coming. That's terrible.
Tummy sticks and meat chickens. Like, come on, bro.
He doesn't know what Spaceballs is. Give him a break. Johnny Gonzalez says, namaste. We need another Hot Rod movie, the story of my youth. No, we used to go and see like the Family is Everything. Vin Diesel movies. What are they called?
You can't remember what those are called.
Not off the top of my head.
Fast and Furious.
Thank you. Now he died wrapped around a tree. What do you want from me?
Bro.
I am still waiting on Dr. Detroit 2, The Wrath of Mom. There you go. You motorboat them, you old sailor. You old sailor, you. Oh, that's not Will Ferrell. Shut up.
Look at me.
When I win the lottery, I'm hiring Jake to follow me around and do drops in my everyday conversation. Oh, so good. So good. Couple things I want to get to before we really get to non-sports. Should the NFL ban the tush push? So here's what I'm going to say about this. There's zero data that says, well, there's more injuries because of the tush push. Zero. Everybody wants to say, oh, well, player safety. This is not a player safety issue, and anybody telling you that, you can just know they don't know what they're talking about. There is zero data showing the tush push leads to more injuries. Football hurts. People get hurt playing the game. There are no more injuries on that than your garden variety 3rd and 3, let's run an out pattern.
Yeah, then your garden variety, take Trevor Lawrence's head off type play. You know.
Yeah, and stuff.
Yeah.
My point is, and Trevor Lawrence should thank him for that because all 6 of those foreheads. But my point is, this is purely, in my opinion, a move for entertainment, because I don't think anybody finds the tush push entertaining. Well, if you're not in Philadelphia, you don't find it entertaining. And in my opinion, I think it is a matter of, do you want to enforce the old rules? And one of the things that should scare people about enforcing the tush push is that one of the most exciting plays in all of football is when you have a wide receiver on the 3-yard line and everybody, and he's trying to struggle to get in the end zone and everybody pushes him in. It's a touchdown. And because that goes away too. Because what people don't understand is, I think it is up until 2008, it was illegal to push guys into the end zone.
Right.
If you eliminate the tush push, don't you have to bring that rule back?
No.
I think you do.
I don't think they will. Well, here's the thing. I don't disagree with you, but my
what
point
would
is,
the verbiage of the non-tush push
right,
be?
Right. So the verbiage would be, I don't think they would word it, hey, you can't push people into the end zone, because I think you're right. Like, that is one of the most exciting plays in the NFL, and it's used regularly, whether it's for touchdowns. I think people think this is only a touchdown thing. This is a first down thing too, right? This is anytime you basically need a yard or less, you're going to do this. I don't know if, I mean, do you think they're going to ban it like altogether? Like, do you think they're going to ban the tush push?
I think there's enough momentum to do that.
Okay, so
if they can agree on language, they will.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody wants to get rid of being able to push a guy. Because think about how that works. So, like, let's say you're 4th and 2 and the game's on the line, and you like your matchup in the flat with your wide receiver. You know, if you run a set with, a bunch of like 3 bunched receivers to your right, and you throw it out wide to one of them, and, the play finishes 5 yards down the field and one of your linemen pushed them forward at the end of the play, you don't want to make that illegal, because we see that play all the time in the NFL. Nobody complains about that. The only reason they're complaining about the tush push is because it's effective. And when I say it's effective, it's unstoppable. And my point is, hey, dude, maybe shouldn't allow them to get in that position, right? Maybe we should say, well, hold on a second. Isn't the tush push a safer play, generally speaking, than running your quarterback left or right for a yard, or running your quarterback straight up through the line? Like, wouldn't you rather them just dive for a yard? Like, that's safer to me. And so I don't know, man. I think this is simply,
we have to stop with, we can't risk injuries.
Yeah.
If it's an injury thing, where do 9 out of 10 guys in the NFL get injured? Do you guys know the answer? Go, and the data is widely available. Go look it up. On the ground. Injuries happen most times when a guy throws himself on the ground or is laying on the ground. Here's the problem. It doesn't happen on the tush push. It's not a player safety issue.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And I think people want to make this a thing where it's like, no. It's a fairness issue and an entertainment issue. I think fans would much rather see Jalen Hurts throw it, run it, or whatever. I'd much rather, if you had the tush push all those years ago, would you have ever seen a Statue of Liberty touchdown for the Eagles? Probably not. Right? Like, I just don't think, I think we're making way too much out of this.
Yes.
I think banning the tush push, I'm a believer that if you want to ban the tush push, why don't you figure out how to stop it first? And then you can ban the tush push.
Yeah, because that's the issue. You let them get 2 yards away from the end zone. Like if you commit a penalty that gives them a first down 2 yards from the end zone, they're going to run the tush push 3 times and you can't stop it. Oh, maybe you shouldn't have committed the penalty.
And maybe
like it's not that difficult.
Stop it. That's what I'm saying. Stop it. I just think that yeah. Anyway, we also talked about Caitlin Clark and the foul.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was coming. As soon as you saw Angel Reese wide open, you knew that Caitlin Clark was going to come in and take that foul.
There's no problem with this foul.
You know what else isn't the problem with this foul? Yeah, that was one of the most watched WNBA games ever. So, is it Caitlin's fault? They weren't tuning in for Angel Reese. That was one of the most watched WNBA games in the history of the W. And it's because she was playing in the game.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to start truth telling. And we've got to stop with this nonsense that, hey, the WNBA is not popular. Nobody cares. The WNBA is widely popular. It is. The other thing is, if you're a dad of daughters, the WNBA is phenomenal for your daughters. Golf is phenomenal for your daughters.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting yesterday when you had people talking about this or that with nobody cares. Bad news, bro. Apparently they do care. And yeah, people watch that game in droves.
And it just don't think it's some horrible thing to say, hey, like, this is because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese right now as a player is a glorified rebounder. Like, that's what you are. You're not some skilled player. Like, you need to develop. Like, that's what it is.
Are you out of your mind?
What?
You turn the Cubs game off for Juan Soto sucks.
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
I'm sorry. Mets Red Sox is a little more relevant than Cubs Marlins.
To who?
Everybody.
Whose baseball subscription is it? Turn on the Cub game, you dirtbag.
God.
You seriously thought it was a good idea for your health to turn off the Cubs game?
Yeah, I did.
Plick.
Made you money tonight.
Let's not get carried away. Let's
not get carried away. Anthony Edwards still has to let us down. So,
And Pete Crow Armstrong, he's been red hot. Go with it, Monty. Yeah, 0 for 96 in the top of the fifth. Speaking of pressure, Jordan Hudson torpedoed UNC Hard Knocks. A report today came out that says Ms. Hudson wanted to have content approval and partial ownership of the show. So NFL Films is like, nah, we're good. We'll see you guys later. Good luck to you. She wanted control of Hard Knocks. And NFL Films said, yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not, Ms. Lady Friend. Absolutely not. We will not be giving you control of Hard Knocks. To which I say fantastic. Because I don't know. Well, I do know why Bill Belichick tried to do what he tried to do. Because, well, yeah. But I don't really understand what you were thinking and how you thought this would end well. And if somebody wants to explain to me why we are not checking Bill's mental, circuits, I don't know. But I find it very interesting that Bill has now gone on this stance of, yeah, she has nothing to do with football. All of a sudden, Bill's like, Jordan who? Football? Michael Jordan? Yeah, he sponsors North Carolina, Jordan Brand. That's pretty much what's happened. So,
Just saying. Bro, I don't understand this.
Jake is having some trouble.
I don't get it, bro.
Jake is having some trouble.
How hard is this, man?
You just got to fast forward. So he tried to turn the Cubs game back on, and now it started it from the beginning. So we get to watch Pete Crow Armstrong strike out like 87 times, which I guess is fine. But, I mean, are you still hardcore anti Jordan Hudson?
Yes. I think she's bad for the hoodie. I think that this news that they're engaged and they're going to get married, and I don't understand what he's doing, dude.
You don't like that? The report came out today that Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick are in fact engaged.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I don't. It's just not that complicated. I think that she has not helped his business, like his personal brand, business development. Like, she hasn't helped things, dude. You went from being a legendary NFL coach to now people wondering if you're okay mentally because of this girl. Like, what are we doing?
It's a big deal.
Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, well, is Bill Belichick, has she chosen the right life partner? Like, I don't care that she's a million years younger than he is. That's not my point. My point is that she's destroying his brand, and he doesn't seem to care about that, and doesn't seem to be connecting the dots on that until recently, when all of a sudden, to your point, now it's turned into, well, that's on the side. That's a personal thing. She's got nothing to do with football. Like, okay, was it the CBS interview that changed your mind? Is that what happened? Hey, the CBS interview happened, and they aired your dirty laundry, and now you want to change your stance? Like, okay, I'm good with that if that's the case, but why did it ever have to get here, Bill? Why can't she just be, like, again, like, we as guys know this, like, in some situations, you got to just do your thing. Like, it doesn't always have to be your girlfriend's got to be right there every second of your life to manage your whole day. And I just feel like he allowed her in, and she just came smashing through the door and tried to run everything.
Yeah.
And that, to me, was a mistake, and I don't like it. And by the way, I'm just going to get out ahead of this train. If they ever get divorced, I will not feel sorry for dude. You made your decisions, bro. And like, I
don't think, but see, we're assuming that she's a gold digger or she's a bad person. I think she was in over her head. And my favorite analogy in situations like this is, hey man, you started the rookie day one and we figured out what they weren't capable of. Well, we figured out what Jordan Hudson's not capable of. And that's anything to do with football and anything to do with PR and media. And so she's not allowed to handle that anymore. Justifiably so. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just guys getting overexposed, and she got overexposed. And I think it's a very difficult situation for Belichick now, because I think everybody expects there to be problems, and everybody expects her.
Because there has been problems.
Well, yeah. Oh, I don't disagree with that. And everybody now is going to paint her as a gold digger, and he's only with her for her sex. And I'm not going there. She's not good at what she did for him. She's not good at all. This Jordan Hudson situation is a Pandora's box. UNC Open. You're not kidding. No pun intended. But yeah, you're not kidding. Right, Gabriel? And can you imagine being a top star player who transferred for Bill? Now you have this happening around you, removing attention from the football program, which I think you'd actually be happy about that.
I don't think players care about it. I don't think it's.
If this was October or November, okay, maybe.
Now we're having, let's say that you were, a 2-win team in October. Okay, now we got problems. The season hasn't started yet. The football team, there's no evidence the football team has been impacted. That's not the point here. It's not about, the team per se.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I just think that takes it too far. The part where we disagree is just that I think her actions are pretty self-explanatory about who she is. I don't know her. I've never met her. I'm taking her off of the way she behaves. And the idea that she thinks that she can come in and do better for Bill than he's already done is wild to me. Like, you're 24 years old. You are not, like, I don't care how college educated you are. You're not qualified to handle Bill Belichick's, legacy, mainly because he's been coaching football longer than you've been alive.
So
I'm sorry, dude. I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt. And I've come around a little bit. Calling her a gold digger is strong. We don't have evidence that that's why she's in this. But I just think that she, in my opinion, based off her behavior, wanted to have this dynamic where, hey, I'm more than just what the relationship looks like.
Correct. I would agree with that.
And I think it's hard to get away from that if you're her at this point.
Yep, totally agree. He has 6 Super Bowl rings. She will get 3 when they are divorced. Wow. Bill is into other business with Hudson. He is, and she is, and they are in copulating and stuff.
Now, if you ask me what I'm concerned about, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned, dude. Like, okay, if you're that awful at PR, how bad are you at real estate? How bad are you at, any number of things in life?
Not so bad right now. I mean, there's no indication she's lost money on real estate or he's lost money, or I don't know. I just think we're way ahead of it at this point. Engaged after how many months? It's been years.
Well, that's the other part of it too.
It's been years. So Virgil says, hey, brothers, greetings from Manchester, England.
Oh, what's up, dude?
Go Chelsea Football Club. Are you a citizen or are you a Red Devil? What is wrong with United? Good Lord. Quit hating on her. She got drafted in the 5th round and she's already got engaged. Well, there is that too. She looks like a Marvel supervillain. Well, this picture doesn't disagree with that. And certainly this picture doesn't disagree with that. And certainly this picture doesn't disagree with that.
Yeah. She loves the no pants look.
She does love the no pants look. Is it awkward she's wearing a Patriots sweatshirt? She is from Boston. So
I don't know, man. It's not my cup of tea, dude. I'm the wrong guy to get positive words about her from.
Could be.
Yeah.
She wanted to stay behind the scenes, but Bill was wanting to show her off. So she blew the thing up. Easy. It's a family show.
Yeah. PG.
To go back to being back behind the scenes. I don't know who put what where. Okay. No, I'm not going to play your game. Winning is the only way you can get this distraction away. I would agree 100%. With that. She is a Porky Pigging It fan. Wow, Mike.
Dude.
Virgil, who's new to the show, already fitting right in. I tend to lie on my right arm. Feels like somebody else is doing it.
Oh my God, just like that. Oh.
Bro, you know that the show is in a good spot when Buddy is in Europe making spank bank jokes. Dude.
21 times a month, Virg.
Come on.
My guy, 21 times a month.
Bro.
Manchester City, brothers. Exactly right. Hey, if you guys are watching on Facebook and X, thank you for being here. Everybody on X, you guys are amazing. We really love everything that you guys are doing. The interaction, watching on the show. Come over to YouTube. Hit like and subscribe. We need 6 more likes on YouTube, you guys. 6 more likes on YouTube to get us to 100. We like 100 every live show. We appreciate that. Thank you. If you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on X. If you were listening to the audio version of this podcast, appreciate you as well. Find our podcast anywhere you get yours. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, you name it. We've got our podcast wherever you are. Come over to YouTube. Just Google search The Monty Show. Watch live on YouTube. We appreciate that. All right, couple more stories before we get out of here tonight. We talked about Tesla. Absolute free-falling yesterday. Remember the story was, well, hey, they wouldn't take, you are not allowed to trade in your Cybertruck because they were selling them for as much as $120,000. They're worth as little as $49,000, depending on the mileage and the condition. So the write-off was too big for Tesla to take until recently. This story's not going to help. You guys may have heard Gilbert Arenas' son was involved in a serious car accident. His car hit a tree head on. He got stuck in the car while it was on fire and was seen on the phone calling people for help because he was stuck inside the car. Well, some not so difficult sleuthing because Gilbert talked about it on his podcast today. Yeah, turns out it was a Tesla Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Turns out that he couldn't get out of the Cybertruck. And actually, it turns out he got in the accident because Gilbert Arenas says the steering system failed and he could not turn the vehicle, and so he slammed into a tree. Then he couldn't get out of the Cybertruck because the system is electronic. The doors were locked. The glass is bulletproof, and he didn't have an instrument to get himself out of the truck. So he almost burned to death in this Cybertruck. It has just not been a great stretch.
Why would, and I'm being serious, why would anyone buy these cars? Like,
here's my question. Why are you buying your kid a Cybertruck, Gil? Or why is your kid driving a Cybertruck? It is a huge vehicle. Are you telling me that 18-year-old kids are fully aware and understand the dangers of driving that vehicle? They don't. Do you think he knew he was locked in that truck until it was too late? He probably didn't. There clearly wasn't a hammer. A lot of Cybertruck owners now, because this is happening more and more where the system shuts down so you're locked in the truck, they're now carrying hammers so they can have the ability to break the glass. This is not good.
Dude.
This is not good at all. And again, same thing I said yesterday. You can buy a Cybertruck, you can get the nicest pickup truck on the American market.
I don't know. Maybe someone needs to educate me, but I shouldn't have to educate my kid on, the dangers of not being able to get out of the vehicle because the system shut down.
Turns out you have to.
In the event of a crash.
Yeah, it turns out you have to.
But no, this is my point. I should not have to do that, and I won't have to do that because I'm not going to buy a Tesla.
Don't fuck.
Like, I'm not. Like,
I first of all, the first thing that stood out to me was the sense of entitlement here is amazing. And if you don't watch the All the Smoke podcast, you're crazy. It's a great show. But you're out of your mind if you're buying your kid a Cybertruck.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, you're out of your mind if you're buying a Cybertruck at all. It's one of the worst investments you can get in a very difficult car buying market. And I'm just telling you, it's a lose-lose proposition. It's why 4 million people put deposits down and only 40,000 of them executed.
Yeah. Like, why?
It's a bad deal, man.
Yeah. It's a bad deal all around. And
is there another car you wouldn't buy?
Land Rover, Jaguar.
I would
never buy Land Rover,
Rattle
Jaguar.
boxes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike Smith, just get the kid a G-Wagon. That's what I'm saying.
Well, at least that I can respect because now we have resale value. Right now, I can say, okay, it's going to keep it's going to hold its value.
Yeah. Gabriel, lawyer would want to be all over this case. Easy lawsuit. Hope his son gets the compensation he deserves. He's a basketball prodigy, so you hope he's okay. Gilbert Arenas did bring a gun to the locker room, Monty. Yeah, he did. I've rented a few Teslas. The Model Y is much better purchase than the Cybertruck. I just don't think there's any value in them at all, and it is not close to the best available EV or hybrid that you can get.
No.
Like the hybrid market and I'm a big proponent buy American. I'm a huge believer in the American auto industry. If you're going to buy a hybrid or an EV, it's got to be Toyota or Lexus.
Toyota.
I just won't buy anything. A Toyota product. Yeah, I won't buy anything else. Steinecker says, buy a real American truck, buy a Chevy Silverado.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Chevy, man.
Love me a Tahoe. Love me a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Love me, an Explorer. I'm not a huge pickup truck guy. Like generally, I just don't have the need for it.
And I'm not a fan of Toyota.
Yeah.
I've owned Toyota. It just wasn't a great experience. I am a huge, again, speaking of Steinecker, I'm a huge Corvette guy.
Dude.
I am a huge Cadillac. I love the Cadillac Escalade.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a Chevy guy for years and years, but
I want to say I could be wrong. I have to look it up. The EV Cadillac is done, or the EV Escalade is done really well.
Very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The American auto industry has to get more pragmatic. We really don't build cars anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're a truck country now.
Yeah.
Truck and SUV.
Yep.
So, I build Subarus. Do you really? Okay. Johnny said, bro went from Cybertruck to Cyberstuck. That's what I was saying.
I'm just glad he didn't die, dude.
So am I. Can you imagine that? Nothing says save the environment like a Cybertruck. Seriously. What happened to kids getting a beater with a heater? Seriously. What happened to
point? Like, why? Like, look, I'm all good with. Listen, I'm good with. Hey, if your parents have money and your learning experience happened to be nicer than some kids' parents who didn't have money, I'm cool with that. Just because, like, that's how life works. But I'm a big proponent, and you did this to me. Of your kids got to buy, like, when it comes to cars and stuff. Like, I'm never gonna buy my kid a car. Like, you have to buy yourself
I'm a believer
car.
in that. Yeah.
Like, I'm cool if you want to use my car. That's fine. I mean, that's a part. Like, that's got to happen. I mean, there's a phase there. But you gotta, like, if we're talking cars and houses and stuff, you gotta buy your own cars and houses. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not buying you a car in probably for, I don't know this to be fact, but a lot of guys like at Gilbert Arenas' level are just gonna buy it cash. I'm not just gonna fork out whatever would have been, 100 G's for a Cybertruck. That's not happening, dude. I'm just not doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to be able to find a happy medium. When you're a multimillionaire like Gilbert Arenas, buying your kid a Cybertruck is probably not that big of a deal. It's not even the money, you guys. It's what it is as a vehicle. It's too big.
It's the premise.
It's too big, man. And I agree with Jacob. Buy union-made cars, man. Chevy Silverado EV has a range of 440. It's a better truck than the Cybertruck. I totally agree.
And I think it looks a million times better.
I've been driving an i4, and electric cars are far superior. I don't hate electrics. It's just got to be the right electric. Toyotas have great resale. They do. I can y'all a good discount on GM cars and trucks. You want to roll that C8 out front? I'm not going to say no.
Dude, not for this show, but the ZR1 is an absolute middle finger to the Italians, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Jake and I have had many battles, man. Well, it's those old cooters who drive Corvettes.
Oh, there's no question. Corvette guy is prolific. I mean, he's the guy buying this car. No question about it. But I will say the new Corvette has done well with younger folks, and that's great for GM.
Lexus, good product and good resale value. Yep. Wasn't a fan of Toyota. Loved my 4Runner TRD off-road premium. Bought it brand new back in 21, right before price started skyrocketing. I had a Toyota Tacoma.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even the truck, but the truck, everything was plastic. Okay. Toyota Financial was
brutal,
terrible to deal with. And Jake and I spend a lot of time together. It was a monthly call of, hey, you're past due. Hey, you're past due. Hey, your payment's due.
And you would get text like a couple times a week.
They want you to pay 1 month ahead. And I never understood it.
Yeah.
And so the first, and I made bank on that truck.
What did you?
Because I had lifted it.
14 out of it. The equity you had was like 14.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, it was double digits.
Because I had lifted it, I put wheels and tires on it, like the whole nine. And it just, Toyota was terrible. It just drives me crazy. Bought myself a 24 Colorado. Love the midsize truck. I'm 6'4". I'm not compensating for much, dude. I'm 6'4" too.
Yeah, I think
it's rough.
the Ranger versus Colorado comparison is really a good one. I like the way the Colorado looks a lot more than the Ranger, but the Ranger has just been such a staple for Ford over the years. Like the old small, two-door Ranger is an absolute legend of the pickup game. And
used to own them.
And I love the fact that they had brought that back. Now, again, I've only driven the SR5 because he had it. I've never driven a Colorado or a Ranger or any of those. And to be honest with you, I'm not a huge proponent of Chevy's lineup overall. I just don't love the look, but you would not have to get me to work hard to, you would not have to pull my leg much to own a Tahoe. I would love to have a Tahoe. Escalade, of course. A Silverado.
Anything HT
is amazing. Is absolutely amazing. And I'm not a huge fan of the Equinox and like that's not really for me. But
dude, that CO6 is mean. That is.
But look at the starting price on the ZR1. This is my point. What's the starting price there? You see there? MSRP right there?
173.3.
Okay, so this car, let's just say dealer markup is 50. Probably 50, 60. That seems reasonable.
828 pounds of foot torque.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so you're
With
getting
1,000 RPM.
You're getting, bro, you're getting the V8 and the electric power, which everyone's doing now. That's not unique to Chevy. That's totally the game now. But the price, this is my point. I love this out of Chevy, and I hope that Ford goes the same route. The price, though, this is clearly at the 1%ers in our country. Totally get it. You're not selling hundreds of thousands of these.
I'm a huge fan.
But my God, 150. Well, okay, call it 200. Call it 200. You are roasting anything Porsche, right? You are absolutely torching anything else American made. Dodge, the Camaro's gone, the Challenger's gone, the Mustang's gone, all that's gone. You're only competing with Lambo and Ferrari and McLaren at that point.
Yeah, and the aero technology on that car, it's
ridiculous.
I love it. I love all the carbon. I love the carbon wheels. I love the carbon accoutrements.
That said,
the cockpit is unbelievable.
The C7 Z06 is what I would buy if I was getting a Corvette. That's what I'd be after.
Yeah, I am. And again, I'm telling you, the 3LZ coupe is the way to go. I mean, bro.
Yeah, bro.
I am all about it.
And people love the fact, give GM credit, the button wall that was in the initial Corvettes has been removed.
It's gone.
They've totally revamped that, which I love.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, and that doesn't even account for Cadillac.
No, Cadillac.
And
dude.
I am a huge Cadillac fan. I love it. I could talk cars all day, you guys. I absolutely I'm a huge fan of the entire lineup. But I just
I don't know. I think, I don't disagree. It's a tougher market right now to buy cars in.
It is impossible.
But see, I don't know that it's impossible. I think that's you have to have good credit and you have to be in equity. That's what it requires.
Well, I would agree. Your credit score matters.
Yeah.
PCA. What did PCA do?
Is that a single?
Well, he's on first base, but it's hits and RBIs. Yes, he's got two.
Let's go, baby.
He's got two.
And we're in the 6th, so he's definitely getting another at bat.
Yeah. Well, if he just scores a run, he'll be a 3 here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he got a hit and an RBI. I love it. But I'm telling you, if you're looking at Cadillac, the ZT5, the Escalade, Escalade
so nice,
line,
dude.
Excuse me, I'm dying. The Escalade IQL is, I'm a massive fan. I love it.
So
it's
nice.
comfortable. It's a cruiser. You get 24s. The technology in it, the luxury, the leather, the whole nine is, and they don't advertise on the show, obviously, as you guys are aware. I love it. And I think that you look at some of those cars, but then you go to the sedans, dude, the CT5V.
Great.
Fuck, man. That car is.
That is your more practical Corvette right there, bro.
The CT5 V Series, I'm telling you, 6.2 liter V8. And as somebody who owns a V8 now,
God, it's so nice.
The CT5V has 668 horsepower on 659 pounds of torque.
Yeah.
That's outrageous. And it's called a Blackwing, and it is.
And it looks great, too. Yeah, it just is a beautiful car.
Yeah, the rake on it, the cut. I mean, the luxury of it, and I think any of us that have been longtime Cadillac fans, the V Series stuff is outstanding. It really is something to behold. Dansby scores. Let's go. 5-1 Cubs.
Okay, where's PCA?
Third base.
On third. Okay.
Standing on third base. I think it's amazing. Staniker says, I'm thankful I make 6 figures in the UAW with an 815 credit score.
Yeah, bro.
Amen to that, dude.
Yep.
Amen to that. Mike Malone is on ESPN. He is for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was, you guys, I could talk cars all day, and I know you probably don't care, but I love it. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching the show today, you guys. If you're new here, please give us a thumbs up. Dansby was safe. Dansby's safe at the plate. Cubs up 5-1. If you're new here, please give us a thumbs up. Thank you for getting us over 100 likes. Really appreciate that. Please consider subscribing to the show. If you're on X, thank you so much for watching the show every day on X. Makes a huge difference for us. Come on over to YouTube. If you're on the audio, come on over to YouTube. If you're in Manchester, England on Facebook, come over to YouTube. Appreciate you guys every single day. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.